game in Los Angeles. Welcome to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. And on this night in LA, major star power converges when the two winningest teams in baseball the last 5 years get together for a series finale. It's the Nationals and Dodgers tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth on a picture postcard night for baseball with Jessica Mendoza and Alex Rodriguez, Matt Vasgersian. The LA Dodgers win a National League pennant last year on the backs of terrific starting pitching. And a big part of that success, Alex Wood is on the mound for LA tonight.
And you think about what has made him so successful, why he was an all-star last year. It's two things. First, he's got a funky delivery that you're going to be able to see tonight. It creates a lot of deception. The second is he throws three pitches equally and effectively. It's his fastball, his curveball, and his change. Now his fastball, he's going to locate glove side to perfection. Then he's got his knuckle curve that you're going to see is two different pitches, almost as a slider and a curve. And then his changeup, which is his best pitch. But the biggest thing with him, with his delivery, he can repeat and be unpredictable with those three different pitches.
He's faced 90 batters this year and has walked only one of them. And that's a total, Alex, that might go up if Wood and the Dodgers decide to handle Bryce Harper the way the rest of the league has.
I mean, that's right. He's got everything on the line. He's the most exciting and most polarizing player in all of baseball. And I never thought I would say this, but Bryce Harper is exceeding expectations. And he's done it with power and discipline. And one great sign of maturity, Friday night, first pitch, first at bat of Clayton Kershaw, base hit, RBI, give the Nationals a 1-0 lead. Expect Alex Woods to dance around a little bit, more of the same, maybe a few walks tonight. And if he makes a mistake, Mr. Harper will get number 9 tonight.
And Mr. Harper, a guy who's used to hot March and April starts. He's off to the best start of his career in 2018. And tonight, it wraps up his first weekend in Los Angeles. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Harper goes to Hollywood. He hopes to carry the Nationals to a series win. Starting lineups and the opening pitch are coming up next.
more ESPN and download now.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN is presented by Taco Bell. Experience the power of the dollar with the new $1 triple melt burrito. And in part by Chevy, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. And Doritos for the bold. Images celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Dodgers' improbable 1988 World Series victory over the Oakland A's. And Yasiel Puig and the
give
current
him a high five. Use your hand.
current voice in blue, trying to get him back there for a second time. That is, if he doesn't beat up Bob Guerin and the rest of the coaching staff. Let's take a look at the Nationals starting lineup for tonight. Brought to you by Taco Bell.
Well, Matt, when the Nats have success, it's usually in the first inning they get things going. They're first in MLB in runs, average, and OPS in that first inning. A lot of it has to do with Trey Turner. Since being in the leadoff spot this season, he's batted .286 with an on-base percentage of .390. The biggest key, Alex talked about it, Harper's the guy. They might walk him. Behind him is Ryan Zimmerman. He struggled in the first half of the season, or the first 17 games. The last 4, he's been red hot.
And these Nationals will face the 5th start of the year made by 27-year-old Dodger left-hander Alex Wood, who is due for putting one in the win column. 0-2 so far in his 4 previous assignments this season. Pitched very well Tuesday in San Diego. Gave up an unearned run in 5 1/3. Did not get a decision in a 7-3 Dodger win. And that number just pops at you. One walk, 90 batters faced. Best strikeout to walk ratio in the National League. So a tall order for the Nationals. They'll have the funky, herky-jerky stylings of Alex Wood. They'll have the shadows. And they'll have perhaps a body clock issue with the sun shining at what is 8 o'clock Eastern time. All ready for baseball. Great crowd here tonight at Dodger Stadium. 10,000 Little Leaguers paraded the field before the first pitch as we settle in for this series finale tonight. Wood ready to go, and we are underway in LA. Trey Turner greets him with a fly ball out to center. Chris Taylor will handle that for the first piece of business this evening. Nothing better, right? You grow up rooting for the Dodgers. You get to walk around on the field before the game.
I remember being one of those kids. We got to come, our whole league, walk around the stadium, bring your glove out. I think maybe they'll call you in. She looks like she can play. Come play second base today.
One gone now for the National second baseman Howie Kendrick. Shutouts have been the story in this series. Shutouts have actually been the story in the opening of the Dodgers season. 4-0 shutout win yesterday for LA. The 6th shutout in the 11 games played in this ballpark this year. Hyun-Jin Ryu was terrific a night ago. Counts 0-2 to Howie Kendrick. And that's what's looming next. Guy en route to Player of the Month honors. Bryce Harper due up next. Up and fouled away by Kendrick. That's where he likes it. It keeps the count at 0-2.
And this is a nightmare for a hitter. I mean, these shadows. Look for both of these pitchers to take full advantage and be very democratic the way they go about their pitch selection. Off speeds, much difficult to hit, much more difficult to hit than a fastball because you don't see spin, you don't recognize velocity.
Next 0-2 pitch home from Wood, and this time Kendrick holds on, or does he? There are 2 gone.
Alex, when were the shadows exactly at its worst? Whether it was the shadows extending between home plate and the mound or deeper than that?
I mean, right now is pretty much as bad as it gets. Halfway through it, what happens, Buster, is you can see the fastball all the way in, but when you have the secondary pitches, the curveball, the changeup, the slider, boy, it is really challenging. You're up there guessing. As a hitter, you really want to go out there and the first good pitch to hit, especially if it's a fastball, take your chances, put it in play, get off your A swing.
So 2 gone, bases empty for Bryce Harper. 8 home runs, lead the league to 27 walks, 8 more than the next closest on the list, Phillies' Rhys Hoskins, and Harper takes what has been an increasingly rare strike.
And that's barely a strike, right at the kneecaps. But as you mentioned, few and far between that he usually sees.
There's another thing he's getting used to, the overload on the right side of the infield. I mean, this is the latter-day version of Barry Bonds. Not only are they pitching away from him, not giving him a chance, but stunting him defensively almost every time he stands in.
Yeah, and I mean, expect Alex Wood to be a little bit more aggressive early in the game. Nobody on base. You can really, manage recourse. So if you're Bryce Harper, just because he pitches you one way in the first, it won't be the same in the 5th or the 7th.
Well, Bryce Harper has gotten off to good starts in the past, but the good start he's off to this year means that opposing pitchers just aren't giving him a chance. Highest walk rate in baseball. When he gets a strike, the slugging percentage is terrific, in the middle 700s, 11th best in the big leagues.
Well, Matt, when you look at where he slugs traditionally for Harper, it is right center to the right side of the field, and that's why it's a win for the Dodgers if he does poke something through the hole on the left side, and that's why they're shifted so dramatically. So if he gets a hit, kudos to them, because what they don't want is Bryce Harper to hit his 9th home run.
Bryce did something very interesting, and I've done this before. He started the at-bat with glasses. In the middle of the bat, he took it off and threw it away. And the reason why he does that, the glasses was an experiment, went bad. He actually wasn't seeing the ball well, so he chose to take them off.
Looks like he's ready for the moguls with those things.
Yeah, seriously.
There he is with the glasses. And I'm telling you, this is panic mode right here. You go, okay, that did not work out well. I did not see that pitch. Let's go to plan B.
Alex Wood is not allowed to hit on a full count, as you saw a moment ago, and that's going to stay true as Harper is jammed. Close play at first, but Alex Wood throws a 1-2-3 start to the ball game. Half inning gone, the Nationals 0, and the Dodgers coming to bat. Half inning of baseball. Let's take a look at the Dodgers Taco Bell starting lineup tonight.
And as the Dodgers, it's been a mixed bag for them this year. The middle of the road pretty much in everything. Stalled a bit out of the gate. Been a little bit better lately, but looking for some more consistency as their best player, Justin Turner, is looming right around the corner.
Group of Dodgers taking swings against the 34-year-old veteran right-hander Jeremy Hellickson on the mound for Washington. Signed to a minor league deal in the offseason. He's made one start with the Nationals this year. Came on Monday, pitched into the 5th inning in a no decision. Last year's numbers split between the Phillies and the Orioles, an 8-11 record, an ERA in the mid-5s, and Jeremy Hellickson trying to pitch his way back to his Rookie of the Year form, an award he claimed back in 2011 with the Rays. Chris Taylor, Corey Seager, and Yasmani Grandal lead off the first inning for Los Angeles. You know, you mentioned, Alex, the slow start that the Dodgers have gotten off to this year, and I guess you could look at it from one of two perspectives. Here's Hellickson's first pitch of the ball game, and it's in for a strike. The positive, the glass half full fan would say, you know, this is just like last year, and Dave Roberts has pointed that out to the media this year. They started under 500 through their first 20 games last season as well, and went on to a National League pennant. The glass half empty fan would say that, well, the Dodgers are the first team in the wild card era to lose Game 7 of the World Series and then start under 500 through the first 19 games of the following year, trying to maintain some of that momentum. We would all agree that it's true for both sides. Neither team has its full complement of characters healthy to start the year.
You know, I think you have to be careful now to look into last year and say he's going to carry over to this year. I mean, you have a big target on your back. They have had some injuries, but you have to come out of the gates and come out swinging because you're no longer the prey. I mean, you have to play like a predator. And I know Justin Turner coming back is going to be a big shot in the arm for them.
Nationals saying the same thing about Anthony Rendon and Daniel Murphy, Adam Eaton. And until then, Dave Martinez and the Nationals trying to bank as many wins as they can before they get their A group back. Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Chris Taylor. Two and two.
Usually when you're a starting pitcher, the first 2 or 3 times innings, you really want to establish your fastball. Expect Hellickson to do it backwards. Establish soft first, take full advantage of these shadows. Then later in the game, once you slow down the Dodgers hitters, you can speed them up, especially upstairs with the fastball.
And a full count to Chris Taylor now, who has hit safely in 10 of his last 12. Yeah, the Dodgers had a series with the Padres during the week where they looked like they were back to being the National League champs. Got healthy at San Diego's expense. Lost the opener here on Friday, bounced back for the win last night.
Well, it was the bats and the offense. I mean, they've pitched well, and in the losses early, it's when you've seen kind of the extreme. They really haven't had that gray area in the wins that they've had like a 1 ERA. In their losses, it's been close to 5. But it's the offense. When you think about the depth of this team, and yes, they're missing their best hitter in Justin Turner, but there's so many guys that can swing it that early on just you weren't seeing what they needed to do to produce to get runs in Turner's absence.
3-2 pitch is hit on the ground to third. Defoe's got it, and there's one away to start things for Hellickson tonight. Well, you mentioned Jeremy Hellickson and how he likes to establish that off-speed pitch early. He has always been a change-up specialist.
He sure has, and he's a mixed bag. He'll go out and throw the chicken sink at you, the kitchen sink, and he'll throw fastball, two-seamer, changeup, overhand curveball. And one new thing he's implemented into his arsenal is the cutter. And that's what we talk about to kind of push the left-handers off his changeup.
Here is one such left-hander. Corey Seager now with one away. Hellickson starts Seager with a changeup that missed down low, and that's something that Corey Seager's seen a lot of this year. Pitches out of the strike zone to begin at bats. I think that's part of the curse and the blessing of playing in the postseason, as the Dodgers have for the last number of years. Everybody gets a good long look at your warts. And for a guy like Corey Seager, who likes to jump on the first pitch, he's being encouraged to exercise a little bit more patience these days, because he has not seen a lot of first pitch strikes.
Or if he's seeing a first pitch strike, it's more of a pitcher strike, meaning it's something that's low and outside, painting the corner. And Corey Seager will do a good job sometimes first pitch of recognizing the strikes. The point is just because it's a strike doesn't mean you should swing at it.
Behind Hellickson, the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
And if you're the Dodgers, you have 2 different type of challenges. Number one is you have to repeat as National League champs that you were last year. The other ones is as sophomores, the Bellingers, the Taylors, they have to come out and show the world how good they are again versus for the first time.
And Seager rattles the ball into the right field corner. A one-out double in the LA half of the first.
Well, if you look at the location of where the Nationals wanted this to be located, it was more in the inside part of the play. It ends up right down the middle. And for Seager, he likes it in anyway, so you don't have a lot of room for forgiveness. That's a pitch that if you're going to come in on him, you got to get Black to off the plate. It leaks over the middle, and he jumps all over it.
And that's a cutter gone bat there. 86 miles an hour, didn't do much. But what I like about it from Corey's point of view, Seager, is he gets rewarded for a nice patient at bat, short, tight swing.
So a one-out RBI opportunity now for Yasmani Grandal, who has been the Dodgers' hottest hitter the last week plus. He takes a strike. This is the absence felt by Justin Turner's injury. The search for a productive number 3 hitter. Yasiel Puig had opportunities to start the year. He, as was the case last year, for whatever reason, not as productive in the 3 spot. So Grandal seems to have grabbed that position the last week plus. Something of a void without Justin Turner. Grandal's been great with runners on base this year. 12 for 28 in spots like this. That'll move a runner and provide the second out for Jeremy Hellickson. So now Cody Bellinger. Runner at 3rd and 2 gone for a guy who enjoyed a bobblehead night.
Sister threw out the first pitch last night. Dad Clay was in the house.
It was all set up for Cody Bellinger to be a hero, and he was, in fact, with a 2-run home run late that iced the shutout win for Los Angeles. An opportunity here for the reigning National League Rookie of the Year. Let's take you back to last night. It was a 2-0 game. Carlos Torres came on in relief, and an 0-2 pitch deposited into the right field pavilion. Never a doubt.
It was pretty cool too. I was sitting in the stands, and because everyone had their bobbleheads, it was all about Bellinger for so many kids and fans last night, that every time he walked up to the plate, just you could feel the buzz, you could feel the anticipation when that ball left, especially late in the game when it was only 1-0 at the time to put him up 2. People were going crazy.
You weren't sitting up there, were you?
I was I was down there.
2 balls and no strikes to Bellinger here. You know, that late success for Bellinger late in the game is something that fans were used to last year. His OPS in the 7th inning or later last year not only led all of baseball, it was the best ever by a player in a rookie season. And that's something that you don't find yourself saying about a rookie leading the league in OPS 7th inning or later. That's when a young guy is supposed to wear down. That's when the hard throwers out of a bullpen are supposed to get to you. Not the case for Bellinger last year.
You know, when you spend time with Bellinger, first of all, starting with his size, his speed, his power, his composure. He has tremendous pedigree, obviously, with his father being a Major League Baseball player. But this guy has superstardom written all over him.
Two balls and 2 strikes the count to Bellinger, and courtesy of StatCast powered by AWS. His hard hit rate last year, 4th best among left-handed batters. Slightly down in 2018, as many of the Dodgers' numbers are.
And that's something I don't think you worry about a whole lot as far as the hard hit, like him being able to barrel up a baseball. The power that he brings, it'll come.
And Hellickson loses him on ball 4. Already a couple of full counts from Hellickson early on in this one in the first. And now a chance for Jock Peterson. So Bellinger yesterday homered on his bobblehead night, and Jock Peterson did it one better, celebrating his 26th birthday by straightening out a 97-mile-an-hour Steven Strasburg fastball.
So if you're a hitter here, this is the beautiful thing about having runners in scoring position, runners all over the place. You have Zimmerman, who has to cover first base, which opens up that hole. Defoe's in for the bunt because a bunt base hit makes it 1-0. So as a hitter, there's a much better look with men in scoring position.
Runners at the corners and 2 gone. Hellickson in an early jam. You know, we talk about Peterson homering yesterday, and just to see his name in the lineup card wasn't something that he was guaranteed of. In fact, the original version of last night's lineup card did not include Jock Peterson. And Dave Roberts shared with us before the game that it was his son Cole that said, "Hey Dad, you know, Jock Peterson's celebrating a birthday today. Get him in there, why don't you? One time, do the right thing." And Dave responded, switched it up. Peterson paid him off with a homer.
He joked with Jock prior to the game and beat Pete, "If I'm going to put you in the lineup on your birthday, you better go yard," and he did. Strasburg a little lower in the zone than I think they wanted, but it was Pike. Peterson jumped all over it to be able to put the Dodgers up. And this was a game that was looking like it wasn't going to have much of a score, because you got Strasburg going against a hot Ryu who was sitting down Nats batters left and right. That broke it open.
Lesson is be nice to the manager's kid.
Yeah, right?
The 0-2 home. And Peterson sends a drive out to shallow center. Michael Taylor and Moises Sierra. Hey, call the ball, Maverick. You're at 10 feet. Let's have a little Kelly Leak ball hog play out there. But it helped shut down the Dodgers in the first. Middle of the Nationals order in the top of the second. Ryan Zimmerman, Michael Taylor, and Moises Sierra against Alex Wood, who dispatched the Nationals 1-2-3 in the top of the first inning tonight. Zimmerman 6 for his last 15. Those numbers coming over his last 4 ball games, and coming at a good time, because the franchise all-time leader in home runs and runs batted in got off to a very slow start the first 2 weeks of the season.
Well, the biggest thing with Zim too was really just the fact that, and Davey Martinez was telling us before the game, that they were noticing he was hitting the ball hard. And so he kept showing them because there was so much talk, should he continue to hit behind Harper? He was top 3 in exit velocity, top 3 in hard hit percentage. And that's what's cool about the numbers. There's so many of them out there. But when you're, and you know this, Alex, when you're a hitter that's not seeing the results, meaning the hits, you're batting like $110. But you can prove with numbers, yeah, but you're hitting it harder than pretty much anybody else in baseball right now. Like, hang with them.
3 balls and a strike to count to Zimmerman. It's a shot into the corner. And that one will bound in fair territory, and Zimmerman will end up at second base with a leadoff double.
And there's a really nice stroke here on a fastball away. A good pitch by Alex Wood. Stays on it. 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Stays with it beautifully. And a thing of beauty. Head down. Good pitch. Better swing. Double Zimmerman. A guy that's been very productive and understands drive in and runs and leverage situations.
Leadoff hitter in scoring position now for Michael Taylor. Taylor 2 for his last 19 against left-handed pitching. And he wants to think about things a little bit with Zimmerman off the bag at second. You know, just to button up your exit velocity comments on Zimmerman there, Jess. That one off the bat at over 100 miles an hour. Those start to fall eventually.
And honestly, the way that he can do that on a pitch that's not a bad one from Wood. I mean, you want to locate away, that's where you locate it. You locate it on that outer third of the plate, and Zimmerman, I mean, literally just meets the ball and still has 100 miles an hour on it without trying to crush it.
0-1 to Taylor is served into right field. Zimmerman to third. Back-to-back knocks open the second against Alex Wood.
And this is a thing of beauty here by Taylor. Changeup, low and away, stays within his game plan. He wants to advance the runner and at the same time be productive. Textbook. Alex Wood has got to be thinking fastball, low and away, double, changeup right on the black, base hit, first and third, no outs.
So now a chance for Moises Sierra, the left fielder tonight. And just to keep a close throw over at first. And I think if you're Dave Martinez and you watch the way this inning starts, noting that it's your 4th and 5th place hitters that have opened up the rally, it's particularly pleasing because those spots are so important behind Bryce Harper. It's going to be harder and harder to give Harper the Barry Bonds treatment if the likes of Zimmerman, Taylor, and whoever else is batting behind him start to heat up.
Well, and it's honestly key for not just one, because really runs were at a premium for the Nationals last night. They had the bases loaded because they walked Harper and then walked Zimmerman, and it was Sierra that was up to bat after them that ended up striking out. They put Taylor up for tonight's game because of his numbers against Wood. But to me, when you have a guy that's his Goliath of Bryce Harper, it's not always the one right after. It's sometimes one or two, because they can still figure out ways to maneuver past him and Zimmerman.
Yeah, this number courtesy of Sarah Langs at the ESPN research department through our Buster Only, that Nationals batters after a Harper walk are 12 for 75 this year. That's a .160 batting average. And a wave and a miss by Sierra. Over in the other dugout, Dave Roberts wearing a microphone for us tonight, and here were his thoughts when Howie Kendrick struck out an inning ago.
So I got slider down and in. Bounce it. There it is. Yeah, he did.
He did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he
that
did.
is great.
Dave calling pitches. Dave pulling all the right levers and pushing all the right buttons. Getting Peterson in there yesterday and watching him homer. Here's Pedro Severino now. Severino bunting and pushes it foul. And that, America, caught everybody by surprise.
Yeah, Dave Martinez trying to safety squeeze. And what you want to do is you want to make the third baseman come in off his position, make the throw, and literally as a runner, you're supposed to just follow him down the line. As he throws, you walk in to home plate for a run. And that's a play that he brought from Joe Madden and the Chicago Cubs. He also did that with Tampa. One of Joe Madden's hallmarks.
We've even seen him do it with the Cubs with pitchers.
0-1 the count to Pedro Severino. Yeah, unafraid to do that with a guy who does not have a single sacrifice bunt on his career resume. If that's not right out of the Joe Madden Book of Madness, I don't know what is.
Not many catchers are known for their bring it down the line and get down first base.
A ball and a strike to count to Severino. You know, there's a lot about the way Dave Martinez has begun his managerial career that would make you guess, if you didn't know already, that he learned from the foot of the master. A decade with Joe Madden, and a lot of Joe has rubbed off on Dave. Quite a long set here from Wood. He comes home. Severino still trying to bunt. You know, the visual comparisons are hard to ignore. We saw earlier this year, first week of the season, Dave Martinez got run from his first game. And watch the body language and how similar it is.
Hands behind the back. That's so Madden.
Like student, like pupil. It's almost like he's doing an SNL sketch of Joe Madden getting ejected from a game.
Tremendous technique.
2 balls and a strike to count to Severino. Zimmerman doubled to start the inning. Taylor singled. Sierra struck out. And now Alex Wood has his sights on rolling a ground ball to get him out of the trouble. There goes Taylor, got a big jump. Grandal decides to eat the throw, and there are runners at second and third with 1 away.
And Michael Taylor here just takes off in first move. No doubt about it. Easy stolen base.
What's amazing about that is Alex Wood in 2016, 2 stolen base allowed. Last year 2. This year, that's a 3rd already this season.
Makes Michael Taylor a perfect 7 for 7 on the base paths as well. Severino with a cue shot foul to run the count now to 3-2. Alex Wood just an inning plus into this one, already working a lot harder than he had to Tuesday in San Diego when he carved up the Padres lineup through 5 1/3.
And this is if you're Moises Sierra, you have to be able to change your approach and go from your A swing, which is your home run swing, to your B or C hack. I don't care if you choke up. Hit me a ground ball to second, hit me a ground ball to short. We need to go up 1-0.
See that note on his 2-strike contact rate. About as good as you can do.
Severino, better said, not Sierra. But you want to get the ball in play right here.
Hanging around. Not a huge sample size, but Pedro Severino has been very effective in spots like this. 6 for 11 with runners in scoring position. You saw the 2-strike contact rate, and if we were playing Stratomatic baseball, the numbers would say that he'll cash in here. Here we go again on a full count. A ball out to center field for Taylor. Zimmerman will tag up. Throw home will be too late, and it's the Nationals that are on the board first tonight. Great Major League coverage coming your way this week on ESPN. Tomorrow night, Twins and Yankees at 7 Eastern. Wednesday night baseball features the Cubs and Indians. And then Jess, Alex, Buster, and I will be in Anaheim, about an hour and change south of here, for the Yankees and Angels next Sunday night.
I'm excited for that one. That was one when you get the preseason list. These are the games that you're going to have. I think Buster was with me on this, but I highlighted Yankees, Angels, and that was even before the Ohtani craze. Just knowing some of the offseason acquisitions the Angels made and how good the Yankees are supposed to be.
Yeah, the Angels almost got, well, they didn't almost get no hit. Johnny Cueto had one going through the middle innings, but they lost to the Giants today 8-1. As you see Wilmer Defoe get walked intentionally, and that'll load the bases for Jeremy Hellickson. Check that first and second here for Hellickson.
And regardless of the outcome here by Hellickson, it's a small win for the Nationals, because next inning their leadoff hitter, Trey Turner, leads off.
Before his time in Philly, most of his big league time as an American League pitcher. Not a huge shelf worth of experience with a bat in his hands, and it's 1-1 to Jeremy Hellickson. Check that Angels score. Angels losing. It's a 4-2 game in the ninth. So you're saying there's a chance. And again, we'll have the Angels and Yankees next week. 1-2.
Alex Wood here probably puts him away here with a slider low and in.
And that's what's cool about that pitch for him. His breaking ball, he can really throw two different pitches off of it, and it looks so similar to a slider there, where he'll come more horizontal with it, and then he's not afraid to also throw it more characteristic like a curveball. A little more of that 11-5 downward action.
Hellickson looks a little hitterish, doesn't he?
Well, that was a nice take there. 1-2 slider.
Little excuse me bouncer up the first baseline. It's foul. I haven't seen enough of Jeremy Hellickson swing the bat to say he looks hitterish, but Buster, you got a better seat down there than we do.
Yeah, I don't know. You just have that look. He looks like he's done it before. It's not like he, you see some other pitchers stand in the back of the box, bury themselves, look like they're not interested. He looks like he's ready to go.
Well, I like that he's choking up. He's got one good swing, one good take.
He's got that Andrew Jones smirk on his face too, like he knows what's coming. Slaps it to second base.
Okay, never mind.
Nationals do get a run on the board first in Los Angeles tonight. Yasiel Puig leads off the bottom of the inning. It's 1-0 Nats. involved in the postseason last year, and a couple of teams that factor into Buster's filibuster poll question tonight. Give us the details.
That's right, Matt. The question is, which among the preseason favorites who've started slowly have the biggest challenge to return to the postseason? The Cubs, the Dodgers, the Nationals, and the Yankees had almost 55,000 votes. The Yankees win 31%. The Dodgers 26%, the Cubs 23%, the Nationals 20%. What do you guys think?
I don't know, I could do my hacky John Sterling impression there and say the Yankees win, as they always seem to in these matters. Yankees did win literally today, a 5-1 victory over Toronto.
I mean, I think every team's making it to the postseason, but when I look at that, I look at more at how their divisions look. And if you look at the Yankees, the Red Sox are off to such a red-hot start. It's early, I get it, but if they take that division, that wild card race, it ain't easy. I mean, the Angels, as good as they are, you know the Astros are getting back. Then you got the Twins and the Indians. So to me, the National League, when you think about if you're not winning your division, that wild card race seems a lot easier than what the Yankees are facing in the American League.
Yasiel Puig leads things off in the second inning for LA. Puig, Utley, and Muncy against Jeremy Hellickson. Yasiel sits safely in 6 of his last 7 at the start of play tonight. Being scored upon first has not been a harbinger of good things to come for LA. They've lost all 8 games this season in which they have allowed the first run.
They're the only team in baseball to do that, and that's how the Nationals have been winning games too. So it kind of works in the reverse. Is a lot of their success has come early on. They're first in baseball in runs and average. Early in games is when they tend to strike and do well. When they get shut out early, like last night, they tend to not score late either.
2 balls and a strike to Puig. That almost moved like a knuckleball.
Slow overhand breaking ball. And this pops right out of his hand right here. Classic 11-5 curveball.
And he made Puig chase for the strikeout. 1 gone here in the second.
Puig has struggled against breaking balls this season. It's early, but this is a pitch that he did really well last year.
And as a hitter, it's frustrating because you just saw the slow breaker, and now you say to yourself, boy, I missed one, and here it comes again, except boop.
It's not the same.
Not the same pitch. Strike 3.
First strikeout of the ballgame for Jeremy Hellickson. Now Chase Utley. And Hellickson starts in with a strike. You know, Chase Utley's another guy, Alex, in hearing you speak of playing against him over the years. He's got that look in his eye like he knows something that none of us do.
He sure does. I mean, he's been one of my all-time favorite players to play against, and he just brings so much to the Dodgers. He's like a dream come true for Dave Roberts. He's a guy that watches as much film as anybody and then shares information. But he's literally like a CIA agent. He sits in the dugout, does not say a word for 3.5 hours, and just watches everything.
Bouncer to first for Zimmerman. And there are 2 gone here in the second. Reminder, you can stream Major League Baseball on ESPN Plus all season long. Games are also streaming live on the ESPN app. So start your free trial of ESPN Plus now. Two quick outs for Hellickson here in the second, and now it's the third baseman, Max Muncy. The search for productivity at third base and a little pop in the lineup has led the Dodgers to calling up Max Muncy from AAA. That's where he spent most of 2017. The guy whose previous big league experience came with the Oakland A's. And even the high payroll monsters like the Dodgers, with $180 million plus on the books, have to rely occasionally on a guy who's making major league minimum.
And that's what's incredible about the Dodgers, is when they get guys that come up. And that's where the Chris Taylors of the world, I mean, think about him coming up last year. He was really just a utility guy that kind of fills some holes. And then he just exploded offensively. Now is their everyday fixture in center field at the top of the lineup. But they get a lot of that.
The days of Dodgers having the same infield for an entire decade with Ron Cey and Anderson and Davey Lopes and Steve Garvey. If you have a week with the same infield these days, that's a long time.
Yeah, you make a good point.
Bill Russell at short.
Yeah, because the mix and matchups, the ability to kind of see who's pitching against, who's hurt, who's not, days off, the use of the 10-day DL. The guy's got a little bit of an injury, put him on the DL.
Well, the Dodgers are good at that. That group that you mentioned, Alex, not only did they play together in the big leagues for nearly a decade, they spent the minors together. They all came up together. Bill Buckner was a part of that original group from Spokane to Los Angeles.
And is underrated the comfort that brings to your teammates. Who's hitting in front of you, who's hitting behind you. And there's a cadence and a comfort level that you get used to, and that's why they were so good for so long.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Max Muncy. I also find it interesting that you got a guy here that does not have a lot of major league at-bats the last couple of years, yet the Nationals are still playing him in a shift.
They take analytics all the way back to high school, Matt. High school and college.
Come on, really?
No, I'm kidding.
You could have sold that to me.
I know, I was like, Little League?
Going.
Are they tracking Little League now?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Here's the next 2-2 home.
Well, this is what Dave Roberts told us pregame, guys, when we were sitting there in his office, is Mac Muncy's a grinder. You're going to see him just battle, foul off pitches. They like the matchup, too. He's one of few hitters that likes hitting against the changeup. He recognizes it out of the hand a lot of times, able to pick it up really well. Doesn't mean he's going to crush it. His numbers don't necessarily show that. But right now, just grinding through this at-bat, it's a part of why he's in this lineup.
And your simple goal is just roll the lineup over. You want to get Alex Wood up this inning.
Yeah, he hit a Steven Strasburg 2-strike changeup yesterday to the opposite field on the screws, which in another circumstance may have done some damage. That I think for folks that weren't aware of Max Muncy's hitting abilities, they probably paid attention after that.
Yeah, it's one thing to say, hey, I hit the changeup well, and then you got one of the best in the game in Strasburg that he saw very well.
Still battling 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know, Jeremy Hellickson is working hard. He's sweating. I can see both arms glistening with sweat. But he kind of puts out this
nonchalant.
Yeah, this I don't know, kind of Bartolo Colon-ish. Here I am, and I'm going to flip you a changeup and see what you can do with it.
It's the delivery. It's kind of this ho-hum. Here I come. There's no max effort. When you put him and Max Scherzer side by side, you're going to see 2 very different extreme ways to throw the ball to home.
And he finally gets Muncy to strike out on a good changeup. Still a 1-0 lead for the Nats. When we come back, Alex visits with Yasiel Puig. This Dodger roster, and before the game tonight, Alex had a first-hand opportunity to learn more.
When you're at your best, when you feel like I've seen you many times hit the ball all over this park, what are some of the things that you do well at the plate? First of all, where do you like the ball?
Well, now I'm looking for the ball right here and hitting before the coming to the play.
Yeah.
Little bit in the front. Now I know in my good time. I hit him back.
Right here?
Yeah, right here, two back, and now I am focused in my batting practice and everything that I do. Come in here and stay my hands inside and try to hit in this part and the back.
Show me that again, inside, show me that again.
Right here.
Nice, okay. When I'm looking at you and you're down and you're talking shy, I'm like, we got him. Here's what I want to say. I'm going to ask you a question and we're going to pretend like you went 4 for 4 yesterday. All right, so your energy, right? Give me your energy. And you went 4 for 4 last night. So Puig, tell me, last night you had a fantastic night. You hit 2 home runs, 1 in the upper deck, 1 to 400. How did you do it? Ah, there you go, now we're talking. That's the guy we want.
Excited.
You're not in Cuba, you're in Los Angeles, you're in Hollywood, you're one of the greatest players in the world. Let me just tell you something. I am number 5 all-time in the history of the game, 5 in strikeouts. That means only 4 people struck out more than me in the entire world. So you got a long ways to go to be that bad. Okay?
I don't want to be there. I want to be in the other part that you hit, or something like that, but I'm not striking out.
Puig, let me just say this one thing right now. It's early, you're taking your walks, which I love, so your discipline's good. I am going to bet big time that when September comes around, you're going to have all the numbers we're used to seeing in Puig. You're going to have a tremendous year. Keep your attitude up.
Was he, as Trey Turner smacks a ball to shortstop, and there's 1 gone to start things in the 3rd, was he in a dead sleep before that interview was conducted? I mean, was he Lee Smith in it? He was sleeping in the clubhouse, and you had to poke him to wake him up?
It looked like he just woke up from a nap. I know he was eating a sandwich down there in the clubhouse, but he is a tremendous guy. And, you know, when you see him energetic and you see him being disciplined at the plate and waving his tongue, that's what he needs. That's what the Dodger needs, and it's great for baseball.
But how mellow he is pregame. I mean, that's the thing is a lot of those dynamic players, Bryce Harper being another one, that you talk to him and have a conversation like we did yesterday, he is so soft-spoken, mellow, but then you get that passion, you get in game mode, you get adrenaline, and the Puig that we see in game is so much different sometimes than even just 2 hours before the game.
That's right.
0-1 the count to Howie Kendrick. Well, here they were before the game, and when I say they, Puig and his manager, Dave Roberts.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Vamos Puig. I like it. He's ready to play tonight. I like it. ESPN.
Not everybody wanted a piece of that act.
No. He's tearing people's hands off. It's intense. Now he's in coast mode.
A ball and 2 strikes the count to Howie Kendrick, who has always had a more even heartbeat. He puts that in play, and that's going to be a tough chance. Best opportunity is to roll foul. That's what Muncy does, and it's still 1-2. I think even the Dodger little leaguers want to see Bryce Harper bat with a runner on base.
Along those lines, guys, I remember a couple years ago, manager Clint Hurdle of the Pirates said to us in a meeting, the best protection comes from the front. Alex, you were someone who dealt with what Harper's dealing with. Did you feel that way too? That the guys in front of you would determine whether or not should be pitched to?
Yeah, that's a great point, Buster. People always talk about who's behind you. We talked about it earlier, how having men on base changes the game. It facilitates, and sometimes a ground ball or a fly ball can get you an RBI.
Kendrick with a chopper on a high hop for Bellinger, and Harper will bat with 2 out and the base is empty. Well, the age of 25, already a 5-time All-Star, and a guy who will be entering the free agent market pending an extension in DC at the end of this season.
You know, this is a tough matchup here for Bryce. I mean, Alex Wood is going to, run sinkers in. which is a pitch that's given Harper trouble in the past. Last year he had 4 home runs against lefties, none against the sinker. And then once he gets him thinking inside, look for him to throw that curveball and bury it low and away.
The similarities between Bryce Harper at this stage of his career, Alex, and you at that stage of your career, as you take a look at the swing and miss once again, they're hard to ignore. And I know when we had the Nationals a couple of weekends ago, you had some advice for somebody entering that free agent phase of his career. I would imagine, if we could revisit that for a sec, that the pressure that Bryce Harper feels is hard to ignore. There seems to be nothing that's good enough in the eyes of the baseball community for this guy, because the weight of expectation is so heavy for him.
Well, he's a lightning rod, that's for sure. And you know, ever since he came out of Las Vegas, every move from Sports Illustrated onward has been looked at with a magnifying glass. I've been so impressed with the way he's come out of the gates, his attitude. The 3 of us spent some time with him yesterday, and I just thought his demeanor was great. He was respectful. He looked at all of us in the eye, and I think Kevin Long is doing some tremendous things for him in his year so far.
Which is crazy, because you think a guy like Kevin Long, his first year as a hitting coach for the Nationals, and he comes in, and you got a guy like Bryce Harper, who, by the way, is already pretty dang good. But he hones in, and the trust that he was able to build to say, you are good, but I think you can be great. I think you can be better. And that's something that Harper had to buy into early, and he has.
We'll visit with Kevin Long next inning, as a matter of fact, and we'll ask him that for our very selves. Here's the 2-2 home, and Harper shoots that one the other way into left field. Peterson gets on it quickly, and Harper has to be settled with a 2-out single.
And that's a thing of beauty there. There's a 90, 91 mile-an-hour fastball away, and he keeps his head down, Wade Boggs-like, and hits a rocket to left field. And this is the approach that Kevin Long's talking about. Abbreviated leg kick, head down, right down through the baseball.
That back knee going right to the ball. Or you've seen him at times pull off of that pitch. His entire torque going to right field instead of there. All of it is going to where the ball's pitched, and that goes to left field.
And if you're any team out there thinking of signing Bryce Harper, here's what you have to look at. He's great, but he can actually get better. Here's a guy that with this talent has never driven in 100 runs. His upside, tremendous.
Well, if you're a team looking at signing Bryce Harper, you're probably one of about 5 or 6. Because it's a very limited group of spenders that can play that game. As much as the economic groundwork of baseball has been distributed out better than it ever has before, when you're talking about a player like this, it's probably not a team in rebuild mode that's going to be playing that game. A ball and a strike to count to Zimmerman. Zimmerman doubled and scored the game's lone run back in the second. On the ground to shortstop. Seeker goes the short way to force Harper and retire the side. We'll visit with Kevin Long when we come back. Still a 1-0 Nationals lead. T-Mobile, America's most loved wireless brand. Join the Un-carrier today and the all-new Accord from Honda. Business is good in the pavilion seats on a night where the visiting Nationals have a 1-0 lead early. As promised, joined by Nationals hitting coach Kevin Long, who will talk with us through some at-bats here on the other side of the scorecard. Kevin, we appreciate the time as Alex Wood leads things off in the Dodgers half of the third. So we were having a discussion about your prized pupil, Bryce Harper, a little while ago. And Alex, who speaks rave reviews of the work you did with him, was talking about unlocking a different gear in a guy like Harper. Tell us exactly what that is and what kind of work that entails.
Well, you got a superstar in your hands, and you got a young man who's only 25 years old and still has a lot of room to improve. And we're trying to unlock everything we can. Right now, you know, you can see the type of pitches he's seeing. They're pitching him very tough, so he's got to go more, you know, for body blows and not knockout punches. And when he gets back into that knockout punch or he's looking for one, he's got to be, you know, on the hunt for that. But he's been good. He's been taking his walks. His discipline's been good. You know, he's doing a hell of a job.
Well, Kevin, not only to be a successful hitting coach, you have to have the knowledge, but also getting the buy-in of these guys. How have you been able to approach? You mentioned Bryce is a superstar, but how do you get him to buy in, especially early in the season?
Well, the 6 weeks of spring training definitely helped. You know, we got to know each other, got to hang out a lot. He's spending a lot of time in the cages, really get to know his personality, his work ethic. He's a terrific guy. I've really bonded with him. I've enjoyed every minute of it so far with him.
K-Long, one of the things we've talked about up here is a little bit of all the meat on the bone, all the potential upside. Here's a guy who's 25, he's won an MVP, but has never driven in 100 runs. We talk about where do you see his potential? How high can this young man go?
Well, he can go high. We've seen the good months, and it's about the consistency, Alex. We're talking, you know, is 8 home runs a month, is that feasible? Sure. Is 25 RBIs a month feasible? Sure. What's that add up to? That adds up to 150 and 48. So, you know, it can be done. It's the consistency and making sure his mind is right. He's doing the things he needs to do to reach that and maximize his potential.
Kevin, you got a chance to work with Alex here with the Yankees, and I know that you've had a variety of different personalities. I would ask you for all the dirt on Alex, but really, what was it like? That was another superstar you were dealing with. Yeah, exactly. We don't have enough time, but what was it like even when you were with the Yankees and dealing with a lot of personalities and different guys on that team?
You know what I've noticed is how much the great players not only want to be great, they want to be better than everybody else. They really come to the field every day with a desire to be the best, and that's what Alex brought. That's what Jeter brought. That's what Jason Giambi, Matsui, Bryce Harper, Robinson Cano, Yoenis Cespedes, Jay Bruce. I mean, there's so many good players that I've been fortunate enough to work with, but that's what they have.
Here's the last thing I got for you. I know that on the other side, as we watch Chris Taylor swing the bat here with one gone, Yasiel Puig has a relationship with Turner Ward that, for better or for worse, includes a lot of kisses, a lot of hugs. Is Bryce Harper ever planted one on you, Puig Ward style, or is that something unique to the Dodgers?
I think Bryce might be more apt to knock me out, not kiss me. So if you see a skirmish in the dugout, it's probably Bryce and I.
Got it. Hey, Kevin, we really appreciate the visit today. Best of luck the rest of the way this year.
Thanks a lot. See you guys. All righty, Ron.
All right, we're getting dirt later.
See you guys.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Chris Taylor. I think a lot of fans are surprised to hear that a guy like Bryce Harper could actually go to a different level based on coaching. And a called strike 3 taken by Taylor. That's 4 for Hellickson tonight, including 3 straight. Aerial coverage on this gorgeous night provided by Goodyear, leading the way with tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. Well, it would appear that Jeremy Hellickson doesn't need any help from the tricky shadows. because almost the entire surface is covered at this point, and he is rolling right along. He gets Corey Seager on a 1-pitch out. That's 7 in a row set down by the former American League Rookie of the Year, holding on to his 1-0 lead. Well, 1-0 Nationals. Washington scoring a run on a Pedro Severino sac fly in the second. So Alex Wood back to work against Taylor, Sierra, and Severino here in the fourth.
It was pretty cool to be able to get, first of all, Dave Roberts agreeing to get mic'd up to get kind of the inside, but to go in the dugout with Kevin Long. Obviously, he's telling us about the insights with Bryce Harper, and even off camera.
Michael Taylor with a swing and a drive into the left field corner, and that ball is gone. He came into the night 5 for 11 against Alex Wood and has added a single, a stolen base, and a homer tonight.
And 2 great swings here by Michael Taylor. First on the changeup for a base hit to right, and here's the 1-0 changeup, 82 miles an hour. Again, beautiful short stroke. Maybe a little slider there, little cement mixer, didn't do much. Nice adjustment, tight swing, home run. Michael Taylor.
2-0 Nationals. And Michael Taylor off to a great start tonight. 0-1 the count to Moises Sierra.
What I was saying, though, was one of the cool things off camera that Kevin Long was telling us in the break was on Alex Wood and how the deception is real, and just kind of the conversations in the dugout. And granted, we had the shadows early, but that's something we talked about. Not only the stuff that he has, but his delivery.
1 gone here in the fourth.
And the reason it's so different is the way he starts and to what he gets to. He's done this in his entire life. From when he was 8 years old, he starts conventional. So you see him there with the leg lift. Watch it take away. He bends over almost like he's a side armor. And then just before release, right at touchdown, he gets right back to conventional again. You just don't see that. Very similar to Clayton Kershaw in the sense that both these guys are funky, but when they both get to that touchdown, that front foot down, They're in the same position. Alex, you see that with hitters all the time, all the different stances, all the funkiness to get to your slot position. Right here, this is that position, that touchdown, foot down position. They're identical. And that's where Wood, you take any good pitcher, they're going to be in that position to be successful. It doesn't matter how you get there, but what's impressive with Alex Wood is the fact he can repeat that funk, the fact that he can do all that with his body over and over again and have success.
And that's the physicality. Another thing to think about is, here's a guy that has a chip on his shoulder. He almost looks like he's upset, and he wants to prove everybody wrong that said you cannot pitch with this style, and I love it. He's also locker mates with Kershaw, and that's not a coincidence. He's working like him. He's competing like him. He wants to be like Kershaw. In the first few years of my career, I had the great privilege to learn how to hit from Edgar Martinez, and after a while, you try to imitate. Scottie Pippen ended up looking like Michael Jordan, and if Alex Wood can look like Kershaw even a little bit, boy, that is a great win for him and the Dodgers.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time with him yesterday, and he's very aware of the conversation, is Alex Wood, around his funkiness. And he, quite frankly, is tired of the naysayers that say because he's so unorthodox, he won't be able to repeat and he won't be able to have success. Well, this guy came out of the gates last year 10-0 in the first half of the season. Ended up at 16-3, led the National League in winning percentage. He was an all-star last year for the first time in his career.
Top 10 Cy Young finalist.
And when you revisit the trade that brought him here from Atlanta in July of 2015, it gets more and more lopsided all the time in favor of the Dodgers.
Well, there was so much talk, and he even said he ended up getting drafted the second round versus the first round because everyone thought he would break down. Look at how he brings the ball back behind him. Imagine that from a left-handed hitter especially. It disappears. Then he bends over. He takes that top side over his belt, and then he gets back up to almost an upright position to release the ball. So not just deception for a hitter, but I think a lot of scouts, a lot of different people look at that and say, that's just not going to last. But he's proven them wrong.
And he rings up Severino.
And as a hitter, it's just a nightmare. There's a slider, but it's set up by the good sinker, by the slow changeup. And then when you're looking out, here comes a slider, and it makes a right turn, strike three.
Third strikeout tonight for Alex Wood. And with two gone, they'll get the switch hitter Wilmer Defoe. You know, in visiting with him yesterday about his repertoire too, Alex, we talked to him a lot about his knuckle curve. And he brought out the distinction that he doesn't really throw a true knuckle curve, although his breaking ball is identified as such everywhere. It's more of a spike grip that he throws that breaking ball with. And it was something that just came to him almost by accident. His second year in the big leagues with the Braves, 2014, was here, ironically, at Dodger Stadium, playing catch with Johnny Venters, who before 3 Tommy John surgeries had some of the best stuff in Major League Baseball. And through conversation with Venters, discovered that spike curveball grip. That's what he uses to this day now. No further incident after the Taylor home run. 2-0 Nationals. Scotch Pitch Hit and Run is Major League Baseball's free skills competition for boys and girls aged 7 through 14. Find a free competition in your local community. Go to pitchhitrun.com. Some 10,000 youth baseball players amongst the crowd here at Dodger Stadium tonight, watching a 2-0 Nationals lead early, bottom half of the 4th, and Yasmani Grandal will lead things off.
It's a good day. You got future players, boys and girls, filling the stadium.
It ain't a Dodger game without a beach ball in the stands.
Jess, you remember the first time you ever walked into a Major League Stadium?
I was here. I remember it like it was yesterday. Fernando Valenzuela was the first player I saw, too. And I'd seen so much about him. To see someone in person, after you hear about him on the radio, after you watch him on television, and then it's like, boom, oh, they actually are a real person. They're 6, 7 years old.
Kind of a life-changing experience when you come out and you see these stadiums with all this beautiful green grass, all this opportunity for hope. I know that's when I started dreaming about, boy, maybe I could be a Major League Baseball player.
What was your memory?
It was Upper Deck Yankee Stadium. I was probably around 9 or 10, and I could barely see the field, but it was an awesome experience.
Ball and 2 strikes to Yasmani Grandal, and he's straightened up for strike 3. That's 5 for Jeremy Hellickson tonight. ESPN technology is built for baseball using our front row camera. Jeremy Hellickson coming right into your living room with that spike curveball of his. It's in there somewhere. There it is.
Looks like a R2-D2 type. Emmy nominated. Technology.
There's Cody Bellinger now. You bring up Fernando Valenzuela a moment ago, Jess. And Fernando Valenzuela and Jeremy Hellickson really don't belong in the same conversation. You got a 31-year-old right-hander from Des Moines, Iowa. And Valenzuela, who plied his craft here for the better part of a decade. Sensation from Mexico that really reignited a fan base here. They, however, are linked in that they are the only pitchers ever to win a Rookie of the Year award and a Gold Glove. As Bellinger grounds to the right side of the infield, they're 2 away. That's all I got for you.
That's the link. There's nothing else.
No, that's it. But that's one more than there should have been. You know, Fernando did such a magnificent job here on the field, but you talk about engaging a fan base here. I mean, the Spanish-speaking community here in Los Angeles has grabbed onto the Dodgers from those days, and it's never let go. I mean, this is a multicultural attraction here in LA, thanks in part to that one man.
That was my family.
Now, Buster was walking around the other day, and you talked about how diverse the fan base was. Now, you almost had 60,000. What'd you see the other day, Buster?
Yeah, that jumped out at me. Absolutely, walking through the stands last night, and just to see, you know, how many Hispanics, Latin Americans, it was tremendous. And I remember I grew up a huge Dodger fan. I was 17 years old when Fernando Mania happened. And Matt, I think you're right. I think that really changed the fan base here in Los Angeles.
We had a mariachi band for like an hour and a half pre-game time. It did that national anthem as people are walking in the stadium. I mean, that to me, it just speaks to who the audience is and everyone that they're bringing in.
Well, that voice, that of Hall of Famer Jaime Jarrín, has been broadcasting Dodger baseball in Spanish for 60 years. Jaime started working for the franchise when he was 19 years old. And he's one of only 3 Spanish language broadcasters in the Hall of Fame. And a bigger gentleman in the sport you will not find.
You won't find a sweeter man, that's for sure. Always comes by the booth to say hi.
I mean, first class, the epitome of greatness, and is someone that my father came up looking and listening to and admiring. He's meant a lot to our community, and I know he meant a lot to my father.
2 balls and a strike to count to Jock Peterson.
Guys, he tells an amazing story about Fernando Mania, how one of the proudest moments of his time in baseball was going to the White House with Fernando Valenzuela and see the president and the Secretary of State and the Vice President all sitting there waiting for him. Ronald Reagan, Caspar Weinberger, George H.W. Bush, to meet Fernando Valenzuela, and how proud he was of that moment.
2-2 to Peterson. Little chip shot back to Hellickson, who is in control tonight. And in honor of Fernando and Vince Scully, if you've got a sombrero, throw it to the sky. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. A 2-0 lead for the Nationals on a game where we have not seen Matt Kemp, not in the starting lineup yet, but Matt Kemp is a part of the Dodgers offseason upgrade brought to you by Napoleon Grills. And a funny thing happened on the way to a salary dump trade. Matt Kemp showed up at camp 40 pounds lighter with a renewed commitment, and so far he has taken advantage of the opportunity. 3 home runs, 10 runs batted in, again getting the night off tonight. But it is a resurgent Matt Kemp back in Dodger blue for the second time, who seems to be taking full advantage of the opportunity. Alex Wood back to work meanwhile. He'll get Jeremy Hellickson to lead things off. Trey Turner and Howie Kendrick follow. 2-0 Nats.
And the transformation for Kemp hasn't only been physical. I know he's faster, he's lost weight, but it's also been an attitude. I know we spent some time with him in Arizona for spring training, and that was the vibe around camp. For me, there was a sense of humility, there was a sense of urgency, and let's not forget, when Magic Johnson and the Guggenheim Group bought this team, it was Magic and Matt Kemp in the cover of Sports Illustrated. He is connected to this organization.
Yeah, if you live and around LA, despite him having time in the Padres with Atlanta and with the Braves, him coming back to LA is really almost everyone's sense here of where he belongs. It's where he started, is where he got his name. When he does come up to the plate, you can just tell everyone in this house gets excited.
Here's Trey Turner now with 1 away. We can continue the Kemp conversation going, because with Trey Turner, you have the backdrop of one of the fastest players in baseball at the plate. And the added speed that Matt Kemp has put on this offseason is something that's really gotten a lot of notice. MLB.com does a great job measuring sprint speed in feet per second. And according to that study, only one player, Oakland's Matt Olson, shaved more time off his sprint speed from last year. Not only that, but MLB.com has tracked over 1,000 of Matt Kemp's runs since 2015. And that is defined as a ground ball he's got to beat out, or an extra base hit where he's running hard, not just kind of walking to a bag on a pop-up. And 2 of his 5 fastest times in that period have come in the last week and a half. Turner sends a ball to center that's run down by Taylor for out number 2. Maybe Matt Kemp will be in there tomorrow, and maybe you can start a streak with him. There were over 42,000 hits last year, and all you need is one to keep your streak alive. Download Beat the Streak today. Compete to win $5.6 million. Go to MLB.com/BTS or download Beat the Streak in the App Store today. Here's Howie Kendrick now, a former Dodger himself, with 2 gone and the bases empty.
You know, what's interesting about Alex Wood is the fact that we talked about this in the open, but he throws 3 pitches equal. He's the only pitcher in MLB with 3 pitches at 30% average. And so you think about it as a hitter, a lot of times, first of all, you know you're going to see a fastball at least 50 to 70% of the time. And with Alex Wood, he's in the 30 percentile with that. Then on top of that, he's got his changeup and his knuckle curve. So it's just very hard to predict the pitch that's going to come out of his hand, and he's the only one in baseball that can spread 3 pitches equally like he does.
2-0 to Kendrick is lined into the left field corner. Howie Kendrick on his way into second with a 2-out double.
Very nice swing here by Kendricks, who's historically has had an inside-out swing, hits the ball as well as anyone to right center. But here's the changeup, and you see it early, right out of his hand. And Kendrick stays with it nicely, head down, good swing.
Now, is that a pitch now that Kendrick's on second that he can look into? And we just saw it from our camera for center field angle. Is that something Kendrick can pick up from that same angle?
As a pitcher, you can leave yourself exposed, especially if you're. This look right here should give you an indication of what Alex Wood is going to throw. And you'll have 1 of 3 looks. You'll have a spike curveball, you'll have a regular fastball, or you'll have him kind of like an umbrella right over it with a changeup.
Well, Wood grounded him out with a changeup in his first at bat, and then lost him to a base hit on a fastball in his second plate appearance. See how careful Wood is with Harper. Noting that Zimmerman on deck is heated up. 1-1. And Bryce is going to take a moment here after that foul ball came back and got him. Oof. Right on the top of the right foot.
It's got to make the Nationals cringe. They, of course, lost Anthony Rendon when he fouled the ball off his big toe, and they just put him on the disabled list because of that, because he wasn't getting better. And they need Bryce Harper in there.
About an hour and a half into the flight tonight, that thing is going to start barking.
Yeah, the Nationals were hopeful that they could avoid a DL stint with Rendon. But as Buster mentions, he was placed on the disabled list before the game today. And Harper sends a ground ball to second base for Utley. Oh, he yanked the throw. Bellinger gets back to recover in time. And Harper is out. Looked like Bryce may have slowed down a gear. The Dodgers are able to recover and prevent any damage in the 5th.
No.
Bryce Harper takes a pitch off the foot, and then the very next pitch is put in play.
Yeah, and that only Bryce Harper knows how much that foot hurts. But again, you're the leader of the team. You just want to go out and run. You don't have to run 100%. Just give it a good effort. Give me 80, 85%, because that sets the tone, not only for the other 24 players, but for the entire organization from top to bottom.
Jeremy Hellickson's the guy who has set the tone tonight. I mean, the Dodgers have not gotten anything started against him. The only hit tonight was Seager's double in the first. He gets Puig on the first pitch. 11 in a row retired by the right-hander.
And he's sneaky with it. I mean, Matt, you hit it on the head earlier. It's almost like this nonchalant, here you go. Alex, you've talked about even this week when we were studying him and looking in, and he's the kind of guy, it's like you come in thinking you're going to go 4 for 4 because there's nothing about his stuff that jumps off the page to you. Yet, here you are in this point in the game, and the Dodgers are shut out.
Chase Utley now with one gone. There is an easiness to what he's doing tonight that conjures up thoughts of Livan Hernandez, among others, who just kind of casually went out there and said, here it is, hit it.
Well, he does a good job, and tonight against the lefties, especially that cut fastball that he'll use on the inside part of the plate to set up his best pitch, which is his changeup. And that location right there, and even though it ends up being a ball, at least looking to bunt there, but that's a spot that's not easy to hit without hitting a batter. Or even going between his legs. That was crazy. But then he's got his changeup off of that. He's thrown a curveball tonight that has frozen a lot of these batters. That's 4 pitches he's utilized and spread out evenly.
He's thrown a grand total tonight of 4 pitches over 90 miles an hour, and just barely. I mean, he's living in what a lot of people in baseball call the Dale Jarrett speed, 88 to 90.
He just jammed Utley on 85, 86. And it's because of the location. It's because he gets a little added movement because it's a cut fastball, so it'll kind of cut at the last minute. But really, it's where he's able to locate it, and it's been off the hands of a lot of these lefties.
He's got Utley behind the ball and 2 strikes.
And as a hitter, the biggest mistake you can make is try to go play long ball with him. And what you want to do is match his energy. You want to go out and play pepper. You say to yourself, I'm going to get a good pitch to hit. I'm going to go gap to gap and not to get overzealous. Get a good pitch right back at him.
Right now, Utley's got to protect the off speed, whether it's the changeup or the breaking ball, but know that he also can come inside with that fastball.
And Utley sends it harmlessly back to the pitcher for round number 2.
And Hellickson is just putting on an absolute clinic tonight. He's got all 4 pitches. He's a short strider. If you just look at that from the side, it looks like he's a shortstop throwing across the diamond. And then he's doing anything he can to disrupt you. He's going slide step fastball. Then he's going 1-7 to the plate, much slower, and then he throws a curveball, and then he'll do the same exact thing and throw a fastball off it. As a hitter, that's very disruptive.
Well, we're talking about a guy who last year gave up a .333 batting average with runners in scoring position, and whose opponent contact rate had risen from 76% of the swings against him in 2016 to 82% last year. He didn't get many balls past people last season. He has been terrific tonight, however. 13 in a row retired by the veteran right-hander. Still 2-0 Washington. For the first time all year. No hit yesterday by Sean Benai and the Oakland A's, and beaten today in Oakland again. But it's 17-4, one of the best starts in franchise history. A +64 run differential already this year. And Mookie Betts batting leadoff, more aggressive than previous versions of the same player. And it's all clicking in Boston.
And Mookie's been so hot. 366 batting average. He's had 6 home runs, and JD Martinez adding the pop too. And then you got to think they're pitching. Rick Porcello now returning to the form we saw 2 years ago. 1.4 ERA. Chris Sale, David Price, even though he got the loss today. But those three, if you get them rolling, and Drew Pomeranz coming off the DL Friday, not an excellent start, but you get him as well. It's a team to be excited for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and it starts with their architect and Dave Dombrowski, who is as good as they come in the game of baseball. He's done it in 3 or 4 different places. He understands winning as much as anybody, and is the hire of University of Miami alum Alex Cora, who is leading, and is the combination for the Red Sox of power and contact that it's been really, really impressive.
5 grand slams already this year for the Red Sox after an entire season with none in 2017.
What are we, like 3 weeks in, a month in?
And the fewest strikeouts in baseball as well.
Yeah, they've made all kinds of turnarounds offensively this year. And again, despite being no hit yesterday and losing 2 in a row, still the talk of the league. There's a ground ball to the shortstop hole for Seager, and 1 away. That's a 2-0 lead for the Nationals in the middle innings. And our Corona Premier moment delivered the second of the 2 runs. Michael Taylor's first of the year. Part of what's turning into an impressive body of work against Alex Wood. Now 7 for 13 against the Dodger left-hander.
Taylor with the 2 hits on the night. He had the single, his first at bat, that home run. He crushed off the curveball. But he sees the off speed really well against Wood. He had good numbers coming in tonight. 455 against him. That's why he's hitting behind Zimmerman.
Behind quickly 0-2.
And as a hitter, this is the chess match that I love. First at bat, changeup, base hit. Second at bat, slurve, curveball, home run. 2 back-to-back fastballs here by Alex Wood. Be interesting how he tries to put him away right here.
You know, Wood does trail in this game 2-0, but it's been a familiar story already for the Dodgers. Starting pitching good enough, and we'd agree that Wood's been that despite giving up the 2 runs early. It's the support that's failed him. Only 1 hit for Los Angeles so far tonight. Past Muncy into the left field corner. Michael Taylor is now 3 for 3 tonight.
And a sensational night right here for Michael Taylor. Base hit, home run, spike curveball right here that didn't spike, and Michael smokes it for a double. And you see the spike coming out of the hand, and boom. That's a pitch that Alex Wood wants at the back foot for strike 3. And it got too much of the plate. Too good of a pitch on an 0-2 count by Alex Wood.
A chance now for Moises Sierra. Michael Taylor has become a real big problem, and he yanks a pickoff attempt. Taylor on his way to third. A potentially costly miscue. Now a fly ball makes it a 3-0 ball game. So the Dodgers now bring the infield in. Sierra sends a fly ball to shallow right center. Taylor makes the catch. Taylor tags at third, and that throw is air-mailed. Wow.
Well, this is such a tough play because of the ground. Chris Taylor had to cover to be able to get to this ball, and because he's running full speed to catch it, he literally puts all that momentum, releases high, and launches it, which makes it an easy. Otherwise, he would have had Taylor, I think, at home. This shows you how fast Taylor is as well, to be able to think about tagging on a ball that's this shallow. But watch how Taylor, sprinting in to make this catch, isn't able to pull down with all that momentum.
I mean, the Dodgers have shot themselves in the foot a couple of times this inning. First, the bad pickoff throw that got Taylor to third, and then a fly ball to shallow right center that Chris Taylor airmails to the plate that allowed Michael Taylor to score easily.
Another example of contact being rewarded. It doesn't always have to be a home run or even a base hit. Tonight, 2 sacrifice fly, 2 runs.
Another Georgia guy in the bullpen behind the Georgia starter Alex Wood. Josh Fields getting hot. Let me go back to that botched daylight play at second base, Alex. You made a living up there up the middle. You know, Taylor had just doubled, third hit against Alex Wood. Perhaps at an occasion there where Wood said, I'm going to get you on base. I'm going to get you some way tonight. and an ill-advised chance at second base. You know, you got the bottom of the order coming up here. Sometimes the cutesy stuff around the bag at second.
Well, they didn't have him. I mean, that's the thing. It's one thing if you botch it and you yank it because you had him, but look at his lead. I mean, he's leaning towards second. Even if that's a great throw, they don't have him. That's the point. I don't mind as a teammate if you yank it because you got the guy picked and you're just trying to make something, but when you make something to nothing, it's a lot more frustrating.
Greg Maddux made a living and got to the Hall of Fame not worrying about base runners. And I know that that's an outlier when you talk about Greg Maddux as your example, but the point is, worry about the guys at the plate. That extra base doesn't hurt you.
Not only that, but he's been dominating this part of the lineup. You know, that's a daylight play, and sometimes you end up confusing your pitcher, not the runner. And the problem is, as a pitcher, if you have preset the hand with a changeup or a spike curveball, it is very difficult to get off that and throw an accurate throw to second base.
And that's 2 tonight from Taylor. It was a sac fly back in the second that scored Zimmerman off of the bat of Severino. That one was a tougher play. Zim might have had it at home anyway, but the throw was off, and there ended up being no play.
Still a full count, 3-2 to Pedro Severino. And he got him to strike out. All told, a damaging self-inflicted wound in the 6th, and it's now a 3-0 Nationals lead. awarded in fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. A gorgeous sunset in Los Angeles, and so far the visitors enjoying the conditions a little bit more than the home side. 3-0 Nationals as we start playing the last of the 6th inning. Austin Barnes will pinch hit in the number 9 spot, trying to get something started against Jeremy Hellickson, who begins the inning in the midst of having retired 13 in a row. Only 1 hit allowed by Hellickson. That was Corey Seager's first inning double. He has struck out 5 tonight. So Barnes, Taylor, and Seager in the LA 6th. Then with Barnes pinch hitting here to start the inning, that marks the end of the night for Alex Wood. Certainly would have preferred a better final act than having allowed the run on an error in the 6th inning, in part charged to the error. And Barnes pops it up. Let's take you back to where things went south for the Dodgers last half inning.
Yeah, and this is not a set play. This is what we call a daylight play. The shortstop will give you the glove, Utley will give you the open hand, and then it's just an automatic pickoff. The problem is, if you have a preset grip, whether there's a fastball or a cutter, you saw him there shuffling the ball, just not enough time to get set and make an accurate throw. And that's why that ball ends up in center field.
So what was the grip he had there? Was that a changeup grip?
Well,
he then had to try to throw to second base?
I'm not sure if that was a curveball or a changeup, but definitely he was shifting around. You know, you have to convert yourself from a pitcher to a shortstop and make an accurate short throw. It's the first time that you're not in control of your clock. Utley is, and that could be tricky.
Chris Taylor now hitless 0 for 2 tonight. Corey Seager waits next. He's got the 1 and only hit for LA tonight. You know, I think at big picture here, when you start to think about the Dodgers lineup, and we've talked about no Justin Turner, put that out there on the table, but if you remove the series from San Diego during the week, the Dodgers are hitting .200 as a team. So based on the opponent, you know, that got them right during the week. But it hasn't gone that great since. Yes, they got the home runs yesterday and they won in shutout fashion. They beat Steven Strasburg because Rio was awesome. But they were quiet Friday and very quiet tonight.
You know, it's interesting. The Dodger offense handles the fastball very well. They rather face a power pitcher. If you think about hitters that struggle in their lineup against curveball, you have Grandal, Bellinger, Utley, Taylor, all struggle against breaking balls. If you remember, Lance McCullers in the World Series gave the Dodgers offense fits with buckets and buckets of curveball.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Chris Taylor.
Didn't McCullers go like 29 in a row with the curveball? Something obscene during the World Series, because it literally wasn't getting beat with it. You just don't see that. I mean, maybe you double, triple it up, but in the 20s that he went in the World Series, because he knew until you guys beat me with this curveball, I'm going to keep throwing it.
And Taylor lines a ball to the corner, just foul. This MLB season, get the baseball game that'll have you waiting to play it again. RBI Baseball 18 delivers all new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated everyone. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Chris Taylor. Jeremy Hellickson effective tonight with a fastball that has averaged 88 miles an hour. And now he's gone full 3-2 to Taylor. There's a payoff pitch. And Taylor into the opposite field. The first Dodger base runner since the bottom of the first inning.
Watch how late Chris Taylor waits for this 84-mile-an-hour pitch. He is going to wait and wait, and because he's behind in the count, he knows that if anything, this guy's not going to blow it past me. This is literally about belly button even for him when he makes contact, because he does not want to get beat by anything soft. And this is how you protect. You got 2 strikes. You'd rather get jammed than anything, and Taylor does an excellent job of letting that ball travel so he's able to find it in the right field.
So now Corey Seager, who grounded out on a first pitch changeup back in the third. We talked about how aggressive Seager is in the count. And as a result, Hellickson throws a pitch well out of the strike zone to start the plate appearance. There were only 2 players in baseball last year that were responsible for more one-pitch plate appearances, good or bad, than Corey Seager. Both of them were Astros. Yuli Gurriel and the MVP Jose Altuve. A 1-0 represents Seager really working the count here. 2 balls and no strikes. Chip Hale wants to see what's happening down in the Washington bullpen. Trevor Gott and Sammy Solis both up. To 3-0 now. This is where Dave Roberts and the Dodgers are just dying for a knock.
And if you're Dave Roberts here, you're giving Corey Seager the red light. Make him throw a strike, maybe 2. Get on base and bring up the tying run with your hottest hitter in Grandal.
Dodgers just 2 for 18 with runners in scoring position in the series. Here we go on 3-0, and he lost him on ball 4. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, leading the way with tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. Nothing but off speed that time to Seager, and he loses him on 4 pitches. So now Yasmani Grandal with runners at first and second, and if Dave Roberts were to have a chance to hand select the batter he'd like in this spot, it would be Grandal. Leading into today, over his last 20 plate appearances with runners on base, Grandal is 8 for 17 with a walk and 2 hit batsmen. Ten-game hitting streak on the line. So the Dodgers, who've been quiet to date, hoping that the 3rd time through against Jeremy Hellickson can change their fate. A 1-out doubled and a base on balls, and now here's Grandal.
And that's the pitch he struck him out on. It's the curveball, his last at bat. He goes back to it. First pitch, knowing Grandal was probably looking for it, but this time he spikes it in perfect location. See the depth on that pitch, and a nice job behind the plate. Severino, the speedy Taylor on second to keep it in front of him. Taylor just messing with him at second base.
Boy, and Seager at first trying to follow suit. A swing and a miss by Grandal, and it's 1-1.
And that's a mistake by Chris Taylor. You have the best hitter, the hottest hitter at the plate. He's a time run. As a hitter, that just drives me crazy. I want one or two things. I want him to stop or go. But this in-between stuff, you're not messing with Hellickson, you're messing with the hitter. Stop.
Now you know what got to Alex Rodriguez when he was up to bat.
Push your
Make
buttons
the
now.
base runner dance.
And Taylor still bouncing around out there, and it has Hellickson step off the rubber.
Alex, how would you deal with that if you had a teammate doing that?
You know, Reggie Jackson used to tell us, just get out of the box and say, stop right now. I'm already in scoring position. But the reason why that's so confusing is if he gets a great jump, you want to let him steal. So if he's faking and faking, it's completely disruptive to your at-bat.
Both runners still moving around. Grandal bounces it past Zimmerman into the right field corner. Here's Taylor. The Dodgers are on the board. They're going to try it with Seager. There'll be no play at the plate. A two-run double for the guy that's been LA's most productive hitter all year long.
What impresses me is not the swing of this at-bat, it's the approach. He strikes out against the curveball, the at-bat previous. So he comes into this one, he takes a great curveball first pitch, and then he gets one that's a little bit more hung. This is what he's looking for, this is what he's prepared for. He's out in front of this pitch, but he doesn't miss it. And because he was prepared, he spent the time in the dugout knowing what was going to come, how to approach it. He makes the adjustment in a big way to get the Dodgers on the board.
Well, 14 in a row retired by Jeremy Hellickson. And now that he's into the lineup a third time through, Dave Martinez comes out, lineup card in hand, and it would appear he's on the verge of a double switch. Hellickson was brilliant through 5 tonight. And the Nationals will make the move to the bullpen. LA's on the board in a one-run ball game. A pitching change. We'll be right back. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. We bring you some changes on your TV here in the last of the 6th. The Dodgers are on the board for 2. It knocks the starter Jeremy Hellickson from the mix. The new left fielder who comes on as a part of the double switch is Andrew Stevenson. And that also brings left-hander Sammy Solis onto the mound.
Good fastball changeup, another knuckle curve. We've seen a couple of those tonight. Got Bellinger on a good changeup Friday night when he came in out of the pen.
A little more velocity for the Dodgers batters to deal with here from Solis as he misses with a slider to Bellinger to even the count at 1-1. LA showing a pinch hitter on deck. Kike Hernandez is surfaced in the on deck circle. That would be to bat for Jock Peterson. Bellinger ripped into center field. Taylor turning his back to the infield and playing it off the wall. Here's Grandal around to score. The throw to second, not in time. Just like that, the Dodgers have tied it at 3.
Again, adjustments. Just mentioned it was a wicked changeup that got Bellinger Friday night. You remember that as a hitter, and he comes back. This is another changeup, but he gets this one. It's a hittable pitch, and he is all over it. Remember, Bellinger, one of the best last season, his rookie year on off-speed pitches. He recognizes it out of the hand, gets one he can hit, crushes it off the wall. Nice slide. Barely getting past the tag and Turner.
Solis hoping for a better outcome at the bag at second, but you can clearly see Bellinger with a little sleight of hand around the bag, picked that left hand up. That was fancy.
Sneaky little swim move.
We were talking about being the total package. Great swing, even better slide there. And a guy for his size, 6'4", last year considered the fastest guy in the roster.
He's out if they get his left hand. It's a great move. And he's not out because he moves his left hand and gets his right hand around the back.
Slick.
Here's Kike Hernandez now. Hernandez hit a pinch hit home run yesterday.
Off of a righty. He's facing a lefty tonight, and this is a big thing with Kike Hernandez. He came in playing pretty much every day because he had made and showed improvements that he could hit not just lefties, which he's been known as a lefty killer. But coming in off of Strasburg, the big right-handed home run is what he needed to get his confidence back.
Let's take you back to last night's game.
Comes in off the bench. Strasburg pitching, 7th inning. Nobody on, 2 outs, and this place went crazy. Got the Dodgers on the board, 1-0. Pinch hit solo home run. Again, off the righty. Only his 3rd career pinch hit home run.
And if you're Kike, you're not thinking home run here. You're thinking big part of the field. You got to get this guy over to third base for Puig.
Big swing and a miss. Two balls and a strike to count to the pinch hitter Kike Hernandez. Well, the Dodgers have had great success with their pinch hitters this year. As you see Puig go back to school with his hitting coach Turner Ward. Dodger pinch hitters hitting a league best .368 so far this year. 3-1 now. Just as it appeared the LA lineup was asleep, and put that way because Jeremy Hellickson was so good through 5. The Dodgers break through in the 6th.
If you're Kike Hernandez, you have to make sure you stay really disciplined. With the struggling Puig on deck, you got to be thinking bat pitch, set up the double play with Puig.
Sammy Solis has had a hard time against right-handed hitters this year. I know, small sample size, only 3 weeks into the season. That explains the move to the bench for Hernandez here. Big swing and a miss, and it's a full count now. take a look at how part of this matchup is built for baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile.
And that's a chase 3-1 changeup. If I'm the pitcher, I am thinking exactly the same pitch. I want a chase pitch, perhaps.
Payoff to Hernandez is fouled away again, and it's still 3-2.
And I don't like that pitch there, especially after the 3-1 changeup. You make Kiki look bad. He's lunging out. Repeat that same pitch. Let him have the discipline to say, I don't want this RBI. I will pass the baton to Puig. Why put the pressure on yourself? Repeat the 3-2 changeup.
The next 3-2. It's been a familiar story for the Nationals bullpen. One that they thought they had fixed last year, mid-season, with the imports of Ryan Madson, Sean Doolittle and company. That same A group returned Brandon Kinsler. But this year so far, a 5.88 bullpen ERA. Ranks the Nationals next to last in Major League Baseball. And there's ball 4. Some of the numbers that Dave Martinez is all too familiar with. And this mound visit is going to yield another change. He's got Trevor Gott hot. He wants a right-hander for Puig. LA on the board with 3 to tie. Another pitching change, and we'll be right back. Twins and Yankees at 7 Eastern Wednesday night. The Cubs and Indians, and then Jess, Alex, Buster, and I will be down the road in Anaheim for Sunday night baseball a week from tonight. The Yankees and the Angels, 8 Eastern, a week from tonight. Special note that tomorrow night's game between the Marlins and Dodgers is available on ESPN+.
I'm pumped for that Yankees Angels game. It's the first time we'll actually see New York, which I don't know if we've ever said that, by the way, at this point in the season, and we're only a few weeks in. Usually we have the Yankees like 8 times by now, but to see them come into Anaheim as hot as they've been, especially early on the season, will be a good one.
I'm excited to see this matchup right here. Interesting move by Martinez. Puig, a much, much better hitter versus righties than lefties. 28 home runs last year against righties, only 3 against lefties.
It is a former Angel, Trevor Gott, to take over on the mound, and the first one gets away from Severino. A free 90 feet for both Bellinger and Hernandez.
And that's the issue when you have young catchers. First pitch, cross up. He's expecting the fastball in. As you can see with his positioning, it's a slider. Now, how do you avoid that? When he comes into the mound and Dave Martinez hands you the ball, you say to the pitcher, first two pitches, what do you want to do? Slider, slider, done.
But it takes Puig out of risk of bouncing into the inning-ending double play. The infield in now for the Nationals. And it looked like this was setting up perfectly for Washington, right? Yasiel Puig last year grounded into 21 double plays in 109 opportunities. That was the 4th worst percentage of all major league qualified hitters. Dave Martinez made the move. And despite what Alex brought out about the reverse splits, they had the matchup they wanted. Instead, it's Puig into right and foul. And it's a ball and 2 strikes now.
Remarkable splits. 51 extra base hits against righties. Only 10 against left-handed pitchers.
Which is a complete reverse split that you don't normally see, that he's carried into this season as well.
Well, I mean, here's my question. Like, I'm sure that Dave Martinez and the Nationals are aware of that, right? They have to be. That's the worst kept secret in baseball, that Puig is big-time reverse splits guy. There's something about the matchup with Solis, however, that he was uncomfortable with. And that's why they made the move here for Gott. Two and 2.
Good take, and the cues you want to see with Puig is body language. He's a guy that wears his sleeves and his emotions in his sleeves. And the more excited, the more he smiles, the more he laughs, the better he plays.
Got him swinging. Two gone.
And after so many sliders, a fastball that plays up and throws it right by Puig. Puig very disconnected. And that's what you see when you have a hitter that's that talented, that's not confident. You see it in the batter's box, and if you watch him going back, dragging his bat into the dugout, what you're seeing is a hitter that's not confident, and body language that tells you there's some insecurity about what he's doing in the box right now.
So now Chase Utley. And he started with a strike. And Puig needed only a fly ball to give the Dodgers what would have been their first lead of the night. Instead, it's up to Utley now with 2 gone. He's got Bellinger at third. Hernandez, the runner, at second with 2 away. Chase hasn't had a lot of opportunities with runners in scoring position, but he has cashed in to the tune of a 3 for 8 in situations like this one. Three runs on 3 hits in the Dodgers half of the 6th to tie it. We were all ready to put out an APB on the LA lineup. They were lulled to sleep by Jeremy Hellickson to start tonight, as you can see on K-Zone 3D. The bottom third.
That's why we see, Matt, so many pitchers now, 3rd time through the order. It's rare to even see them match up, and that was the case with Hellickson. I mean, he was almost pretty much lights out, only giving up 1 hit through the first 2 times through that order. He gets back to the top with Taylor, double, walk off of Seager, Grandal, double. And that's why we see so many more pitchers now, and teams go to the bullpen once that 3rd time through the order comes through.
That's a stay alive hack by Utley to keep the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And the at bat that I think he's going to look back at is not the the Chris Taylor double or the other double, what he's going to look back is the 4-pitch walk to Seager. He obviously could have attacked him a lot more there.
The next 2-2 from got him looking. Couple of big strikeouts keep runners stranded at second and third. The Dodgers do score 3 to tie. We go to the 7th inning in LA tonight. A brand new storyline, all even at 3.
Have some fun, let's go. Jock, who sings this song? Come on, man. One of the greatest artists of all time that ever walked this earth, Michael Jackson. Yeah. Not a babe. Pop culture.
I love it.
The pop culture, young bull. I mean, poor Jock Peterson was born 10 years after Thriller. He didn't have a shot in that conversation.
He didn't have a shot. No offense, Dave Roberts, but I mean, who's recognizing that imitation?
Josh Fields takes over on the mound. Is Alex Woods able to spit the bit tonight? 3 runs get him off the hook for a loss, and Josh Fields will try to keep it a tie ball game here in the top of the 7th. Back with Alex Rodriguez, Jessica Mendoza, Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian. This has been a fun ball game to watch tonight, as Wilmer Defoe leads things off in the Nationals half of the 7th. It'll be Defoe, Stevenson, and then the top of the order, Trey Turner.
A lot of elevated fastballs from Josh Fields. He's not going to necessarily blow it by guys because of the velo, but his ability to locate, similar to Sean Doolittle on the reverse end for the Nationals, is a guy that likes to utilize the top half.
The Dodgers have realigned defensively after the double switch. Remember, Austin Barnes came on and pinch hit to start that long bottom of the 6th. He stays in the ballgame and takes over at second base. Kike Hernandez in left for Jock Peterson, for whom he pinch hit. And Josh Fields, the pitcher spot, is now the 7th spot in the order as he loses Defoe on the leadoff walk. It's got to be frustrating. Your team gets 3 to tie, their first signs of life all night, and then you lose the leadoff hitter the next half inning on the base on balls. Rick Honeycutt up on the bullpen phone. And now Andrew Stevenson makes his first plate appearance tonight. This one now in the hands of both bullpens. Washington scoring their runs, 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth, and then 1 in the sixth. All 3 coming for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 6th inning to draw even. Stevenson whacks an 0-1 pitch into right. Defoe runs well. He's on his way to third. On his way to second is Stevenson, and that's where they get him.
And although Puig not doing it with the bat tonight, a very nice heads-up defensive play. Nice job getting over there quickly, cutting that ball off, and throwing a strike to Seager for the nice play at second base. That could be a game changer right there. And an awful base running mistake, making the first out at second base, potentially destroying a rally.
Seager made a good athletic move because that throw was actually kind of sailed. I mean, Puig did an excellent job of cutting it off, but he had no chance of actually hitting Seager that well because all his momentum was going off. So Seager making a nice athletic move to make that grab and then get the out.
Yeah, guys, from field level, I wonder if Puig's throw had such an arc on it that's why the runner misread the throw. And he may not have been expecting Seager to be where he was.
Trey Turner with the infield in takes a strike. We'll take another look at that play at the bag.
And that play is right in front of you. And I get your point, Buster, but you cannot make a mistake this late in the game. No outs, and you have Trey Turner, your leadoff hitter. You cannot make that mistake, no matter what you thought about that throw.
Ball and 2 strikes to Turner, who's hitless so far tonight. Had been 3 for his first 9 in the series. 2 strike counts have given Trey trouble this year. Started play tonight just 4 for 35 in 2 strike counts this season. Again, the Dodgers have the infield in. Trey Turner celebrating an anniversary in a couple of days of one of his more notable accomplishments in the big leagues. Almost a year ago to the day, April 25th of last year, hit for the cycle at Coors Field, a night in which he drove in a career best 7 runs. We have a player tonight who is a triple shy of the cycle as Turner is straightened up here and doesn't like to call.
Well, according to K-Zone, it looked like it's off the plate. Josh Fields does a nice job of locating this pitch. That's where you want a 2-strike pitch, because even if it's a miss, you're still ahead in the count, but that's not a strike.
Give Yasmani Grandal a little bit of credit too. He is one of the better pitch framers in baseball and has been for the past couple of years. Here's Howie Kendrick now.
And here's where that mistake, the base running mistake by Stevenson, comes back to bite you. Not only can you maybe kill an inning, but also you take the bat away from the best hitter on the planet, potentially, in Bryce Harper.
Harper hoping for an opportunity next with 2 gone. And Kendrick's behind 0-2. Hey, a reminder, be sure to tune in to Get Up tomorrow at 7 Eastern on ESPN with Mike Greenberg, Michelle Beadle, and Jalen Rose. They'll be talking sports from New York City South Street Seaport. It's also available on the ESPN app. Fields trying to pitch around that leadoff walk and single. And he do so. Straightens up Turner and then does the same to Howie Kendrick, who, like Turner before him, takes exception with the strike zone. Nothing despite the opportunity for the Nationals. They're stretching in LA in a 3-3 tie.
How do you say his name? Pitcher Gott.
Three-3 ball game, bottom half of the 7th inning. Trevor Gott back to work. You'll get Max Muncy followed by Austin Barnes and then Chris Taylor in the Dodger half of the 7th. Some teenage optimism in the pavilion seats tonight. And why not? There's a bouncer up the line, and Zimmerman is there to make the play for route number 1. Well, Trevor Gott with a couple of big strikeouts of Yasiel Puig and Chase Utley to keep the go-ahead runs from scoring in that 3-run 6th. You know, it's early in the season. People are jockeying for position and leverage situations in bullpens across the Grande Ligas. And maybe Trevor Gott, yikes. He doinks Austin Barnes after I was just getting ready to talk about how he could improve his lot in life in the bullpen with a big outing tonight. Okay.
Well, if you're going to get hit with anything, a curveball at 80 miles an hour, Barnes does a good job of just turning his back instead of it getting him anywhere else.
You'll take that every time.
Go-ahead run is on base. And now Chris Taylor, who started the 3-run rally with a 1-out double in the 6th.
And maybe a good time here for Dave Roberts with Barnes and Taylor to put the game in motion, perhaps a hit and run.
Looks like Dave is still quizzing Jock Peterson on Michael Jackson songs. It was a triple-double 6th for the Dodgers. Chris Taylor. Yasmani Grandal to drive in a pair. And then Cody Bellinger to drive in another. In the spirit of Magic Johnson, a triple-double. It's the best I got. Don't look at me like that. This is a base hit into right field. Barnes will wrap around to third in front of the throw, and the Dodgers are in business in the 7th.
Very good hitting here by Taylor, hitting behind the run. A little old school baseball here, and tremendous base running by Barnes. The minute that ball was hit, he was thinking third base all the way. And Bryce did everything he could, came up tremendously, charged the ball, throws a strike to third base. But Barnes, right here, does not need a third base coach. Great clock and a nice slide to third base.
So now Corey Seager, and we'll see how Gott chooses to deal with the ever-aggressive shortstop. Seager's 1 for 2 with a walk tonight. He swung at the first pitch in 2 of his 3 plate appearances. That's the number we've reminded you of, a .398 hitter on the first pitch of an at-bat this year. And believe it or not, that is under his career average. He's a .425 hitter on 0-0 for his career. Swings and sends a ball into the opposite corner. Stevenson back at the track to make the catch. Tagging up is Barnes, and the Dodgers have their first lead of the night.
Nice swing there by Corey Seager, but that's a team run right there. Tremendous running by Barnes. Taylor hits small ball behind the runner, gets to third base, changing the whole entire bat for Seager. Nice fly ball to left field. Dodger runs 4-3 Dodgers.
You could set your watch by Corey Seager swinging at the first pitch with a chance to break a tie. Anything remotely close to the strike zone, and Corey was up there hacking. And now it's Yasmani Grandal. Grandal's 2-run double in the 6th inning extends his hitting streak to 11 games. There goes the runner. Throw down on Taylor, not in time. Taylor's first bag of the year puts another runner in scoring position.
Nice pitch and catch here. Strike to second base. Oh boy. They may want to take a look at that. There they come.
They will take another look. Dave Martinez has challenged the call at second base. Man, that's a tough one.
But does he tag the ground first and then get to his body?
I don't know. I still haven't seen a look conclusive enough.
We need to see if that glove, like where the glove hits.
I mean, we've seen some pretty good looks here, and I don't know that I've seen anything that would lead to this being overturned.
Yes, his foot blocks that view right there. Without seeing the entire glove, it looks like he gets the ground instead of getting his knee.
Look, it's worth the dice roll if you're the Nationals. That's a big potential run out there in scoring position. And so far, Dave Martinez has challenged 6 and has had 2 overturned.
And if you don't think being a big league umpire is difficult, we've seen 10 or 12 slow motion replays, and we're still 50-50 on it.
I mean, that all tells me this ain't coming back.
Now we got a head in the way.
Yeah,
gonna do it.
Have you seen anything yet that would?
we got like 18,000 cameras, and we haven't found one yet.
There's 2 people in the world that know whether he's safe and out, and that's the shortstop and Taylor, because they know whether there was contact.
Right now. They're probably like, all right. When are they gonna figure out that you touched the ground?
Wow. Just when you think you've got it figured out, the call has been overturned and Taylor is out at second base. And it's on that call that the inning comes to an end, not before the Dodgers grab the lead to the 8th. It's 4-3 Los Angeles. With tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. Absolutely gorgeous night in Los Angeles. It's been a fun one to watch too. 4-3 Dodgers. Seen a little bit of everything tonight. And we will see another move to the bullpen for a guy who has turned into one of Dave Roberts' late inning weapons. Making his 11th appearance of the season, the veteran southpaw Tony Cingrani. 14 punch outs, no walks in his 8 innings of relief to start the season. He'll get Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, and Michael Taylor here in the Nationals half of the 8th. And after last night's performance from Kenley Jansen, there is renewed optimism for the Dodgers. That's Pedro Baez getting ready if necessary here in a matchup situation. Harper behind 0-2. Bryce is single tonight. He's just 2 for 16 in the series. He does have 6 walks to his credit for his weekend of effort. Let's see how careful Cingrani is to him with an 0-2 count. You know, before the game tonight, we visited with Dave Martinez about Harper getting issued the Barry Bonds treatment. His walk total leads baseball, far and away above the next closest on the list. And ironically, Dave Martinez, his current manager, was the bench coach for the Cubs 2 years ago. When Joe Madden changed Bryce Harper's season by, in a 4-game series, walking him 13 times in 19 trips to the plate. And it was a funk that cost Bryce a good month. Tried to do too much by his own admission coming out of that. Last game in that series, he had 4 walks, saw 29 pitches, and never swung the bat. And for a guy that had been red hot, that got in his head.
And this year, he's going to be tested all year. It's really about his discipline. And in his earlier bat, he had a rocket to left field for a base hit. Dave Roberts actually told him he's okay with that. He can limit that type of recourse. The other thing is, if he's going to beat you and beat you late, he's going to make him do it to left center field, not right center field.
A couple of right-handed batters due up next, and we saw Pedro Baez up in the bullpen for the Dodgers. This might be a one and done for Cingrani. And he gets Harper on the strikeout.
Nice pitching sequence here. Power against power. 95 miles an hour, upper quadrant of the strike zone. And the reason why Harper is late on this and swings underneath, he's thinking about that slider. As with 2 strikes, you have to be defensive.
Dave Roberts has come out to the mound to take the ball. Dave got out there quickly because he knows that Pedro Baez is coming in. Just trying to even out the time there.
Slow you down.
Experience the power of the dollar with the new $1 triple melt burrito. And in part by BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. And Napoleon Grills, upgrade your grilling game. 2 gone, base is empty, and the Dodgers make the move to the bullpen for the right-hander Pedro Baez. She'll get Zimmerman and Taylor here to try to keep the 8th inning clean and preserve the 1-run lead. Baez last year made a team best 66 appearances out of the Dodger bullpen, a sub-2 ERA so far this year, and to the delight of broadcasters and writers everywhere, he has picked up the pace. He has shaved a full 3 seconds, according to Buster Olney, off his time between pitches. A notoriously deliberate worker.
Thank you, Pedro Baez. Lulls us to sleep. I can't imagine a hitter.
1-1 the count to Zimmerman. Zimmerman tonight with a double and a run scored in his 3 trips to the plate.
Got Zimmerman on the slider Friday night when he came in. 1, 2, 3, sat him down.
Zimmerman with a swing and a drive out to left center field. Hernandez back just shy of the wall to put it away. And exhale.
Baez got lucky with that one. That pitch was supposed to be located in a very different spot, and it leaking right over the plate. Zimmerman just missed that one. Look at exactly where Grandal wants it. He wants it low and away. That pitch ends up middle cookie is what that is. 95 belt high. Oh, Zim wants that one back.
So now with 2 out and the base is empty, it'll be Michael Taylor in what might be his last opportunity tonight to put a final punctuation mark on a terrific line. He has singled, homered, and doubled, a triple shy of the cycle, and long-suffering Nationals fans have had to endure almost a full year since one of their guys cashed through with a cycle. We talked about Trey Turner last April 25th in Denver. A ball and no strikes to Taylor. All 3 of those hits came against the starter Alex Wood. Well, Michael Taylor began the night batting a .192. He has improved his stock dramatically in terms of the batting average tonight. A ball and a strike.
Baez right now having a hard time with that glove side, the left side of the plate. Grandal keeps trying to set up there to Taylor, and he keeps missing in and up.
Again, Grandal sets up on the corner, missed in and up again.
As painful as it is to watch Baez, as a hitter, it is very comforting. As you see this fastball up here, it is very comforting as a hitter. The slower the better, because it allows your thoughts and your breath, everything to just slow down.
He was over 31 seconds between pitches last year, most in the big leagues among relievers. But again, a little quicker this season. It was brought to his attention that that might be to his advantage.
Man, he is all over the place, though. That fastball, that's 4 in a row. Big misses.
Again, Dave Roberts wearing a microphone tonight, and these were his thoughts last inning when watching Tony Cingrani.
Hell of a job, man. He's a savage, dude.
He's a savage.
He's a savage, man.
Unbelievable.
I love the get on the mound and squat down. I love the half squat.
He's a freak.
Right?
He's a freak.
Yeah. Dude, he stays in a camper.
Savage.
He's a savage.
I think he's got a nickname now.
Yeah. He's a big boy, too. Former power lifter, we understand. So runner at first now with 2 gone after the walk to Taylor, and it's a throw to second base on Taylor, off and running. And apparently Taylor's able to avoid the tag. Looked like the ball may have beat him. And I can't wait to see that one on a replay. If Chris Taylor's got overturned, let's see what the fate is on Michael Taylor's stolen base.
The ball did beat him, but Michael Taylor's only chance is to try this complete swim move to wipe his arm away and go the back end of the bag. The question is, does Seager get him at all on his body or his other arm? It doesn't look like he does, which is why I think Seager tries there again at the end.
The problem there is perfect throw. Seager is out of position. He should be straddling the bag. If he's in position, is an easy out. He's actually a whole probably 2 yards in front of that bag, which makes him having to come back all the way back and reach for the tag.
So no sooner do we have a chance to even introduce the pinch hitter, Matt Wieters.
Look at that athleticism, though.
You know what? I'm done second guessing on these things. In fact, I was done second guessing on them a long time ago. We were wrong on the Chris Taylor bag.
Well, he gets his leg after he misses his body.
Whiff, whiff, whiff. He doesn't have him there. Doesn't have him there.
Gets his leg there.
But does he come off the bag?
But yeah, the fingertips are still there. Now he's off of him.
He's off.
Yeah. There's a lot to look at.
The reason why you want to straddle the bag, Jess, is the ball's always going to travel faster than your glove. Yeah. You want to straddle the bag, let that ball come to you, and tag directly. Nothing drives catchers nuts more than a shortstop or a second baseman being late or out of position.
Well, and then if Taylor tries that move, he misses the bag completely. He's out and almost in center field trying to get back.
So consecutive innings where a stolen base attempt is challenged. And for the Dodgers and Dave Roberts, he's had a lot of success challenging calls. 4 challenges, 3 of them overturned. We'll get another look at this one. And the call is upheld this time. So the tying run is able to steal second base.
And something of a little bit of concern for the Dodgers is Brandon Morrow. This was his inning last year, which was locked down all year, which was one of the main reasons, one of the many reasons that made the Dodgers the best regular season team last year.
Scott Alexander's hot. He's been in the bullpen a while. Wow, that is the slowest moving paper airplane, and nobody's picked it up. I think the first base umpire now, Tom Hallion, the crew chief, he called for time. That came from the top tank.
And it came, like you were saying, like it wasn't going to fall.
All right, so here's Wieters with a 1-0 count. Wieters started behind the plate yesterday, pinch hitting here tonight, and a big swing and a miss to even the count 1-1. The 2 home runs for Wieters came in back-to-back ball games. A chance to tie the game with a base hit.
And if you're biased here, you really want to manage the game, understanding that you're 1 out away from handing the ball to your closer, Jensen. You have to be careful here with Wieters, with the right-hander Severino on deck. You have 2 guys to get 1 out.
2 balls and a strike to the 4-time All-Star. 2-2.
I think my concern right now, if I'm Grandal, because he's the one that understands this more than anybody, is I haven't seen Pedro Baez hit a spot yet. Whether it's a slider or his fastball, everywhere Grandal goes to set up, it's not just a small miss, it's a big one. And he's gotten lucky because they're still on the peripheral of the strike zone, the outside part of it, but he hasn't hit a spot.
The 2-2. Weeder sends a little pop back, a shortstop for Seager to retire the side. A combination of Cingrani and Baez hold the 1-run lead.
If she becomes the first ever female golf pro in Nepal, it changes everything.
A mountain to climb. A girl raised in a maintenance shed behind the 3-hole of the Royal Nepal Golf Course tries to become the first female golf pro in her country. An unbelievable story on SportsCenter after the game with Bucci and Anderson. They'll also have Cavs Pacers Game 4 reactions and analysis and highlights from other 3 NBA Game 4s. Plus Barry Melrose in studio to break down 2 Game 6s in the NHL. SportsCenter next on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Right-hander Brandon Kinsler on to work in the bottom of the 8th inning. Try to keep it a 1-run game here in the 8th. He'll get the middle of the Dodger order. Kinsler in 10 appearances with bigger numbers than where fans are used to seeing them. A 6.30 ERA. He has been better of late. Last 6 games, 8 strikeouts, and is not allowed to run. Grandal, one of the Dodger hitting heroes tonight. A 2-run double in the 6th, extending a hitting streak to 11 straight. Kenley Jansen up and preparing for the ninth. A very encouraging outing yesterday by the Dodger closer Buster, around whom there were real questions leading into the night.
Boy, you're not kidding. You know, he'd been throwing 90-91. Quality of his stuff had been a question mark within the Dodgers organization. But the way that he threw yesterday, the Dodgers feel like that he felt hampered by a left hamstring and hadn't really cut loose. Last night he did. An electric outing.
And there's ball 4 to Grandal.
And it wasn't just that his velocity was up last night, and it was a good 3 to 4 miles an hour faster, but it was where he was able to locate that cutter. They're sawing off Bryce Harper. That pitch cut, which is exactly what he needed it to do. Again, going back to that cutter, getting Zimmerman to get back out. The plane that he was throwing it on, staying more horizontal rather than having the drop, was what we've seen the first 3 weeks of the season through his struggles. Is not only the velocity, but also him being able to command that pitch.
Here's Cody Bellinger now with the man on.
Guys, I talked to him pregame. I was like, what happened last night? What'd you do? And he was like, you know, it's crazy, but when you see your velo down you try to get your body into position. And every pitcher does this, where you get your front shoulder to try to just rear back. And then that leads to your arm just trying to rear back a little bit more. And from there, it throws off everything. And the irony is you throw slower. So he actually went, grabbed a glove, grabbed a ball, and was like, Jess, look, normally I need to stay here, but when you try to throw harder, your front side gets closed. Now your arm gets lagged behind you, and that kick that you'll see from Kenley Jansen, that becomes a drag kick, and now you fly open, and everything is now slower and not able to sustain that horizontal movement he needs on his cutter. So it's a simple adjustment. He's like, I just had to trust that my stuff was there and not try to rear back.
And you know, if you're Jansen, I mean, you're really in it for the long run here. You're not focused on a 6-month season, you're focused on a 7th, because October in LA is the most important month. He only threw around 4 innings in spring training.
Yeah.
So in reality, this is more like opening day this week.
Yeah, and what Dave Roberts say to us, it was the best that he had thrown since the postseason of last year.
And that's what he only had, what, 2 spring training starts. He had that hamstring issue, and I think also kind of didn't allow him to just really trust it all.
And Buster, I think today would be the big test. You know, going back-to-back days. Can he repeat the explosive movement? And I would focus less on speed, miles per hour, because the last thing that comes and the most difficult is location and late movement. He had that last night. Let's see if he can repeat it tonight.
We talked with Rick Honeycutt yesterday as pitching coach about some of the theories out there surrounding his bad start to the year. Was it a culmination of all the postseason innings the last 3 years? And Rick didn't think that was the case. Here's the payoff pitch home to Bellinger, whacked into the opposite field. Stevenson is gliding back on it to make the catch for out number 1. Well, Kenley Jansen remains one of the best in the business. 232 career saves, an ERA just over 2 runs. Last year, 41 saves, blew only 1 with a 1.32 ERA. This year already, he has doubled the blown save total and carries an ERA over 7 into the finale tonight. But again, bullpen coach Mark Pryor, pitching coach Rick Honeycutt, Dave Roberts, they think that yesterday was a jumping off point. There's Kike Hernandez now.
You know what's kind of cool too is you mentioned we talked to Rick Honeycutt in the clubhouse yesterday, and everyone's sporting the Kenley-fornia love. The shirts that Kenley handed out and had earlier in the season that took back to last season, but they're all walking around just like, we got you. These huge Kenley t-shirts on.
You know, he's also 6'5", 275 pounds. This is a large man. And I know playing with Randy Johnson early in my career in Seattle, it took him a while. Spring training, first few days, he's throwing 89 to 91. And we're looking around going, come opening day, come mid-April, he's back to 97 to 99.
Well, you know, circling back to the postseason innings and the kind of cumulative effect of all that work, all those years with Mariano Rivera, I mean, you know, this guy was in the postseason every year and never showed those ill signs. But in visiting with Honeycutt about Jansen, he said, look, every closer goes through that 1 or 2 week, whatever it is, 6-day, 8-day period where they're not at their sharpest. It just so happens that maybe Jansen experienced that to start the year. So they don't want to draw any connections between the postseason work and what's happened here in April. It is an interesting coincidence if that's all it is. Hernandez jerks a pitch into the corner and foul. I mean, we got with Rick yesterday and said, look, you went to the postseason in the World Series 3 straight years with the Oakland A's in the late 80s when the likes of Dennis Eckersley and yourself and Gene Nelson were all being used a lot. And he was quick to point out the fact that, well, you know, first of all, there were fewer postseason games then, right? Different format. And the starters went a lot longer back then.
A lot longer. What, in the last decade, gone down an inning total?
And Hernandez is straightened up for the strikeout.
And it's not just the innings, it's the type of innings. If you think about the leverage innings, the high-stress situations, he did the last non-stressful pitch is probably in spring training in Arizona. After that, and as we know, the 9th inning is completely different than the 8th and the 7th and the 6th.
Here's Yasiel Puig now. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. And they've got Grandal picked off. Caught him leaning. Zimmerman applies the tag, and that'll do it in the 8th. It will be Kenley Jansen to try to close it out and ice down a series win. Fun 1 hour breakdown of baseball's hottest topics with Chris Rose and Kevin Millar. You can also watch it live on the ESPN app if you're at work. Kenley Jansen will go to work for the 2nd time in as many nights. Entered yesterday in the 9th in a non-save situation and had his best outing of the year. Here to try to preserve a 4-3 win under different circumstances. He'll go to work against the bottom of the order. Pinch hitter Matt Adams will lead things off. He'll be followed by Defoe and Stevenson. 4-3 Dodgers. Adams pinch hitting in the 7th spot. And after a series of changes, the pitcher moved into the number 7 hole, bounces that one foul. And it's a ball and a strike. Matt Adams occupying the role that Adam Lind held down last year for the Nats. Left-handed bat off the bench, capable of hitting one out. He's had some success in just a few at-bats against Jansen for his career. And he lines a base hit into right. Tying runs aboard to start the top of the 9th.
And you wonder sometimes if, the Dodgers' philosophy is to use and overuse their bullpen. You saw it take its toll last year in the postseason. And here's a cutter that didn't cut for a base hit. And you wonder, it took its toll, and you saw it down the stretch in October. You wonder if that's the case a little bit with Jansen.
So now the switch hitter Wilmer Defoe in from the left side. He's walked twice tonight. Oh, 1 to Defoe.
And I know Alex made the point on command, and that's huge for Kenley Jansen to be able to hit his location, but the velocity is also an indicator. It's like they go hand in hand, because when he had success last night, he was at 94 to 96. Super early tonight, but even early in the season, it was 91, 92, what we're seeing so far.
To the count to Defoe. You know, there are a couple things at play with the Nationals roster here, with Anthony Rendon going on the DL today and the Nats taking his spot with a reliever. They're playing with a short bench. Matt Reynolds is the only man left on the bench for the Nats, just in case you were wondering about a pinch running opportunity at first. Ball and 2 strikes to Defoe. In all fairness to Matt Adams, he's moving around a lot better than he ever has. Another player like Matt Kemp, we talked about earlier, who took his offseason conditioning to a new level and showed up leaner and meaner in 2018. And Defoe lines into right field. Back-to-back singles open the visitors' ninth. See the frustration on Jansen there as he snatches the ball back.
Well, the speed is down tonight a bit, but also what it affects is the secondary pitches, and there's just a floater right there. A little breaking ball, did not do much, and it just sat in a tee right there for a nice solid base hit.
Well, again, paying attention to the numbers and not to kind of hyper react. They will now pinch run for Adams as they had that tying run in scoring position. And Matt Reynolds, the last bench option left, takes over at second. Looking at the numbers again, Alex, Cutter tonight is between 90 and 92. Yesterday he was throwing it between 93 and 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, as the Nationals facing an ideal bunting situation here for the Nationals.
Stevenson takes a strike.
There's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but what I'm noticing is he's also down with the fastball. The secondary pitches are just floating up there, and again, even for a strike, he missed the plate by a full plate.
And Stevenson takes another strike.
Now, for me, that's a mistake there. You got the greatest closer on the mound. You got to give yourself 2 shots to get that bunt down. It is too difficult to get the bunt down. And now you get 1 crack at it. He makes a great pitch. Now it's 0-2. Now you're in a hole.
Oh, 2 to Andrew Stevenson. And he got him swinging. A big first out for Jansen and the Dodgers.
So after going 92 at the knees, he kicks it up to 93 and he elevates. And when he has success, you're going to see not only inside to a left-handed batter, but you're going to see it a little bit more up in the zone, like he does right there to Stevenson to get it by his bat.
And to me, the mistake was in the first pitch there. You concede a strike. When you have a competitor out there that's on the ropes like Jansen, you have to attack him. You cannot give him a strike. First pitch, get the bunt down. Second and third, Trey Turner, completely different situation.
Turner's been held hitless tonight, 0 for 4. And behind here, 0-1. You know, Jansen reached back during that 3-pitch strikeout to Stevenson and found a little bit more gas. 90, 92, and then 93 to finish him off with the punch out. The 0-1 down to Turner, misses outside. Kendrick next, and then it would be Bryce Harper. And if it gets that deep, the Nationals will likely have scored. Runners at first and second with one gone, a one-run ball game, top of the ninth, and now it's a ball and 2 strikes to Trey Turner.
The reason why the bunt is the right play there is you want to put the pressure on Jansen and continue. You want to continue to lean on him. If you're expecting to get 1, 2, or 3 hits in one inning, it's going to be a long inning.
The 1-2. He got him.
And Jansen, a little bit of a Louis Tiant there, changed up his cadence there. May have played a little bit with Trey Turner's timing, and a cutter inside corner. Perfect pitch and a nice call by Phil Cousy.
But he front doors it, and that's, I think, what Turner just held him up. Is a cutter you expect to go away from you. That one comes at Turner and over for a strike.
Howie Kendrick represents the last chance for the Nationals tonight. 1 for 4 tonight, and behind 0-1. That at 93 miles an hour. Jansen's velocity has increased as the inning has progressed here. First 5 cutters he threw, he averaged 91 miles an hour. The last 7 have averaged 93. A strike away from finishing him off.
And look at his body language. I mean, that tells me everything. Alex pointed it out after the second base hit that he gave up to Defoe, and swipes, gets the ball back. He's frustrated. Now he's got confidence.
0-2 the count to Howie Kendrick. You know, the way this series began with the Nationals coming in here and winning a game started by Clayton Kershaw, for LA to bounce back yesterday and beat Steven Strasburg, trail early tonight 3-0 and step off the mat, and perhaps get Jansen right in the process. This could be a big weekend for the Dodgers to go back and circle on the calendar.
This was actually a miss. Grandal wanted this up in the zone. It ends up coming inside just off the plate.
The 2 winningest teams in baseball over the last 5 years. And they have given us a weekend series that has not disappointed. The 1-2 from Jansen.
95 though.
Yeah, when did he turn into Johnny Cueto here with the turn and look back to second base?
Jansen finding some improvisational skills through the struggles. And Kendrick swings and sends a fly ball to center. Taylor measuring off the track, and that'll do it. A big weekend indeed for the Los Angeles Dodgers, taking 2 out of 3 from the Nationals after a 4-3 come-from-behind win tonight. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center tomorrow, more Major League Baseball action. The Twins and the Yankees at 7 Eastern. Once again, the final score tonight. The Dodgers have defeated the Nationals 4-3 Los Angeles. For Alex Rodriguez, Jessica Mendoza, Buster Olney, this is Matt Vasgersian saying good night from Dodger Stadium. LA wins it 4-3. They take 2 out of 3 in the series. It's time to get you to Sports Center with John Anderson and John Butchagras. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week in Anaheim.